Hey, what's going on, everybody out there? Welcome to the Eye Test. I'm your host, Mark Coles, and today we are joined by a special guest, Dame Fresh of the Wait Till You Hear This podcast. As you all know, if you've been here with us for a while, we have had what the 1/3 of the podcast on here already before in Ricky Scott, and now we got a second third on the podcast in Dame Fresh. So what's going on, Dame? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How's everything? How's it going, man? Happy to be here with you fellas.
Everything's going great, man. Glad you're here. We wanted you here today with us simply because the topics that we're going to get into today, we respect your opinion on it, and we see and you come at it from a different angle. So we wanted you in on this topic with us today because we wanted somebody that has I guess an intelligible angle on these situations and that follows the sport as well. So thanks for joining us. Glad you were able to make it.
No problem at all, man. Ready to get into it, man.
All right. And as always, got my guy here. I'm gonna say it, Shawn Redacted.
See,
How
man, you
you
don't
doing,
even need to
brother?
say it, dog. I don't even understand why you do this shit every fucking podcast, but that's fine. That's fine. My name is Shawn or Shawn Williams. I don't know who this redacted fellow is, why you keep bringing him up, dog. But look, I'm going to tell you right now, man, when we start making money off this shit, I ain't splitting this shit three ways, Mark. So whoever this redacted dude is, he got to go, Mark.
Hey man, listen. Nah, that's you, brother. You are high
I'm
and
trying to figure out what you're talking about, dog. Look, we done? Are we done with the BS, dog? We done
all
with the
right, all right,
BS?
all
We
right,
gonna get
all right,
into this
man.
shit?
Hey, all right, I got into my obligatory shit. You know what I'm
Now let's go.
I got into my obligatory shit. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to start things off. I'm going to let you guys know early so you know what we're getting into. We're going to be talking about March Madness today. We're going to be talking about college basketball overall and the fact that it now has competition for the quote unquote amateurs of the game. And we're going to talk about overtime basketball league, and coming up, the CFL, XFL possibly being competition for college football, and much more. So we got a lot to get into. I'm tired of wasting time, so let's just get into it. All right, man. So like I said, March Madness is coming up this week, and once upon a time, man, you would see commercials every day. It would be like it would pop up everywhere on your phone, like brackets here, do your bracket there, and then you still see the bracket stuff popping up on your FanDuel and not and nonsense like that. But it feels like is like the excitement around March Madness just isn't there this year or hasn't been there in a little while. And so my question to you guys is really, why is that? Why have we lost that? And with that being said, I'm just going to open it up to your thoughts, and I'm going to start with you, Shawn.
All right, man. So look, I know a lot of people are going to try to blame it on COVID, but like you said, this has been coming for a long time. This year, like you're talking about the excitement that used to exist. I remember being in middle school and high school and having teachers roll the TV into the classroom and turn on March Madness during the middle of class. Like like that's what it used to be, man. Like everything's shut down and everybody's watching the games. Now it's just one of those things where people ain't watching. But Mark, one of the biggest things for somebody like me, or I feel like the casual people that watch, is March Madness. You usually know who the players are. You know who the big name guys are by this time because they've been around for a year to 3 years prior. As it sits right now, this is such a revolving door that I feel like um, they're losing the audience because we don't have enough time to get attached to the players. Yeah, people are going to be attached to the teams, like the big name schools and stuff. So yes, the viewership on Duke games, Kentucky games, Michigan State, stuff like that is going to be what it is. I mean, that's still declining too, but for sure, like I remember, like I brought this up when you first asked me, I was like, Steph. I remember watching Steph at Davidson, and I was like, I've never watched a Davidson game in my life. This dude's balling out. You know what I'm saying? And I was excited to watch him the next year. Like I didn't care I didn't care how well my team was gonna do. If my team's not there, it don't matter. I'm watching this guy, you know what I'm saying, because I want to see what he's gonna do next year. And that, so before, once the championship game was won, Mark, I was already ready to tune in next year. That level of excitement and that level of comeback for the viewers is not there because we don't even know who the hell's playing for our teams half the time, unless you're really, really paying attention. Because the second you get to know somebody, they're gone. I feel like that's a big part of it. Actually, I would say I think that's the biggest part of it. And attached to that, with the players just being one and done, and these guys showing up real quick and disappearing, is rivalries are dying down because you're not getting the player versus player rivalry, and then the quality of the play is down because you're getting a bunch of guys who are unseasoned, basically, just playing ball against each other in these tournaments. Never again will you see a Tim Duncan in his senior year, you know what I'm saying, just dominating the field because he's just that much better than everybody fundamentally. It doesn't happen like that anymore. So
Okay, I hear you on your opinion, and Dane, if you would please share your opinion as to why you think things are the way they are now.
Yeah, I honestly think it's a combination of a bunch of different things. One, you can't really
okay, you just muted yourself there for a minute there, Dane.
that was an accident.
Okay,
You can't
okay, go
really
ahead.
you can't really talk about it without talking about the fact that this year there is a COVID problem. So that kind of messed everything up for pretty much every sport across the board. So you do have to give credit to the fact that COVID did mess things up. Now, if we want to talk about I guess you say the larger problem that is college sports, people are just waking up to the fact that college sports in general is a scam. It's a scam. People are waking up to it.
Right.
People are opting out of the experience because like that layer of amateurism, it just doesn't exist anymore. Like you realize that I'll never forget being in high school and seeing like a $10 billion TV deal, and I realized that the players get no money out of a $10 billion TV deal. So I think that factors in. Now, if you want to talk about the actual game, the games are terrible. Like college basketball games are terrible. They are terrible. They are poorly officiated. The way that you are allowed to play like defensively in college basketball, it doesn't make for a pretty game. One and two, I feel like it kind of ruins the individuality in the college game, because like a great player, it's hard to see a great player dominate a college game because of how the rules and how you are allowed to play in college basketball. So that ruins the quality of the sport. It just ruins the quality of it. It just does.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. I understand that there's all these other factors and stuff like that. One, I think that amateurism and just the fact that like basketball, whereas football isn't, basketball is a more liberal sport. It just is a more liberal sport with from a professional scale and on a college scale. It's a more liberal sport in saying that black people, black players, black athletes have more of an influence in the sport. So with them having that influence, they're able to kind of push that narrative. Whereas in football, you'll probably never be able to see the type of changes you'll see in basketball and football, because football is more of a conservative sport. It just is. So I kind of view it like that. People are waking up. People want to see people make money. And then the college game is just, it's not a pretty game to watch. I think that's kind of where I fall in that.
And when you talk about, so two things I wanted to talk about with that is you saying it's not a pretty game to watch. I like the days of Duke being watching Duke play being like a master class on basketball. Those days are long gone. You know what I mean? So like you said, the game is definitely a lot uglier than it used to be. You know what I mean? And then to your point about the about people waking up, you know, Mark, no disrespect, you've been there, you've been awake, you know what I'm saying? But Mark is one of the people that felt like he was disgusted by the way that college sports was handled with the COVID stuff. And it was like, y'all were really pressuring these kids to go to school. They're not getting paid. And then if one of them catches COVID and then something happens to them, then so be it. You know what I mean? Like it really, that you know what I'm saying? It was kind of a crazy thing. And you got to think the conversations they were having about it was at a time when more than half the country was still like almost completely locked down. So yeah, like I agree with those 2 points. Mark, what did you got a response to both of ours?
Oh yeah. Honestly, I do like the point being made about the game not being not living up to the NBA product as far as the way it's officiated and the rules, because that's one thing I never really understood about college basketball is that if this is the next step to the real thing, why are the rules different than the real thing? Like why like why do you have different rules than NBA than the NBA? Like why is your 3-point line shorter than an NBA? Like you're supposed to be prepping these guys to be in the NBA. Like nobody should have to adjust to a deeper 3-point line from college to the NBA. We were talking about, oh, I'm 21, and so like you're not a child. You don't need a short 3. Like that don't make no fucking sense. Like
I get that to an extent. It's not to me. The 3-point line is one thing. I think the thing that really gets me about the college, like I'm a basketball person. Like I watch basketball. Yeah. I think basketball in terms of like systems and how sets are ran and shit like that.
Right.
If you watch college basketball, like if you are a superstar, like if you are a superstar going to the next level and being a superstar, it is so difficult. It is so difficult for like a superstar talent to be able to flourish in the college game, because they allow these kids to play certain defenses that just will like stifle all of that. Like in the NBA, there is no illegal, like you can't play defense like that in the NBA.
Right.
They just don't. The rules don't allow it. So a lot of times for me, and this is borne out over the years, where players that played on certain college teams, they go to the NBA and they're better than they were in college. And the reason why is because these college programs don't allow them to really put their talents on display. A lot of times they're highly touted recruits that go to these college programs and they completely get lost in the fold because of these offensive systems that you're putting these non-pattern, like you try to put a non-pattern player into a system that just like, yo, it's paint by numbers, make this entry pass here, whatever, what have you. Like, think about Devin Booker when he was it Kentucky?
Yeah, Kentucky.
I think Devin Booker at Kentucky, he was coming off the bench. Like, he was coming off the bench. He didn't really get a chance to.
He wasn't allowed to do his thing.
To flash the. Think about that. Like, the offensive brilliance that is Devin Booker. he was not allowed to showcase any of it because in college, like he just didn't get a chance to do it. So now he gets drafted at 11. He gets drafted at 11, and he's better than probably like what you'll say like 9 of the 10 people that went ahead of him.
Yeah. Well, college. That was another point that college basketball is scheme over player development. It like the coaches. It seems today that college basketball is more worried about, or at least these high level coaches are more worried about playing in my scheme, who fits my scheme, so that we can win the tournament versus developing players and winning because you have the better players and develop players. It's more about their scheme.
So here's my response to that. To both of y'all is I just look at it as it becomes what is it? Preparation versus product. They are, the NCAA over the years has gotten more business-like. You know what I'm saying? So everything now is about the business aspect. It's about the money. It's about the TV deals. It's about all that stuff. So what happens now is like the product, not the product, but the prepping, it becomes secondary to everything. Guess what? Guess what's the best way to get your super fans and your return customers? Like if I get attacked, like Mark, you know how it is. I was a T.O. fan. I got attached to T.O. When T.O. went to the Eagles, even though I was a Niners fan, I'm watching the Eagles now. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the Eagles play because I'm a T.O. fan. When you have superstars, especially now, if you look at the NBA fans, a lot of guys move around with their favorite player as far as what teams they watch. In college, there was a time period where most teams didn't even have names on the back of the jerseys. And that was all part of the, hey, if you get these people to commit to the brand of the team, of the school, then it doesn't matter who's wearing that jersey. So I felt like
is that a good thing though?
It's not for the product. Like long term, that's not a good sustainable plan.
Well, I feel like it's amazing for the what you're saying is amazing for the product. Like having people buy into the brand of a Michigan, a Duke, a Kentucky, Arizona, having them buy into the brand, that means that you'll retain that audience for however long. But was that approach good for the players?
No, that's my problem.
I think that's what's bearing out now. Is that for so long it wasn't good for the players, and now you're in a situation where these brands don't mean shit. Like
when the players are waking up and realizing they have power, and that's the thing. Like you said, everybody's waking up. Not just the audience, but the players are. So no, that stuff wasn't good for the players. But at the same time, Dane, what I'm saying is that's not sustainable. You can sustain that for 20 years, but guess what? Eventually, the Jaguars have people stop coming to games. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you know what I'm saying? If you're bad, if the product is bad, people stop showing up. So that's the problem with putting the school above the talent and putting the school above, pushing. I see
what you mean.
Yes, that's what
but
I'm saying.
I think I wasn't speaking toward that. I was more so speaking toward like in this new age where there's social media and you are not beholden to going to a college program and making sure that there are eyes on you so that you can play at the next level. Like, let's be honest. Whose brand do you think was bigger, the Ball family brand or Duke or Kentucky's brand over the last, let's say 5 or 6 years? Well, now there's an Imani Bates. You know what I'm saying? There's an Imani Bates. Now, you didn't know who Imani Bates was because it wasn't time for you to know yet. Because he ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't even time for him to pick a college yet. That's why you didn't know who he was yet. But think about that. Like, this is the new age. Like, these kids, Mikey Williams, who was talking to Damian Lillard on Instagram, these kids literally have their own brands. So now it's a situation where they are literally, it's so much equity and stock built up into their personal brands to where when I go to your school, I am quite literally doing you the favor. Like Zion Williamson. Like, let's be crystal clear. who was doing who the favor when Zion Williamson decided to put on that Duke jersey?
Well,
I ain't never watched that many Duke games in my entire life. I'm a North Carolina fan. I ain't never seen that many Duke games. I watched all of them.
Yeah,
I watched every single game.
And to your point, Dane, Zion Williamson in 2019, viewership for March Madness was up in 2019 versus any other year since what did it say, like
I think it went all the way back to like 2005
or something like that.
Something like that. But yeah, it had been years.
And that's strictly off of the Zion Williamson effect. The fact that he was in March Madness, because like you can't really link it to anything else except for everybody was checking for Zion in 2000.
Right.
So the product was elevated.
And I don't want to keep like chiming in, but I just want to make this point just to connect what I'm trying to say. So this is the thing, right? In the past, because like what Shawn was talking about before in terms of building that brand and that equity, right? Before those players that you had no fucking idea who they were until they stepped foot on those campuses and put on those jerseys, and you learned about them through watching them in those jerseys.
Yes.
That's how you learned about them before, versus now Zion Williamson is literally building his brand at a high school away from a campus before he even steps foot on a college campus. And this is the problem.
I was gonna say I found out about him when he was 15, bro. 15.
Exactly.
Like,
and this is the issue, right? This is the issue. The issue is, so back then, you found out about those players when they put on those college jerseys and played basketball for those colleges. The problem now is these kids bring their own brand to a school and help bump viewership, right? And they have no participation in any type of revenue that comes into these schools. And that in itself is fucking up college basketball. Because like I said, college basketball is a more liberal product than football, which is conservative, where they don't give a fuck at all. You know what I mean? They don't give a fuck.
Right.
Basketball, you're gonna feel it.
Right.
Yep. So real quick, just to finish up what you was trying to say there, Dane. What I was gonna say was back then, the players needed the schools. Right now, the schools need the players. And with that said, I don't know if you're cool with that, Mark. We can segue to that. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. But real quick, Dane, don't worry about chiming in. This is a conversation. And this is the eye test. We are very much so like chill, interrupt, get your point off.
Like I ain't want to make it seem like I'm like stepping on y'all talking every 2 seconds, like, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to like have it go too far before I said what I wanted to say to kind of connect it before we got too far away. My bad though.
No, you're good. Like we treat this conversation like we chilling outside bullshitting, you know what I'm saying? Water cooler talk, man. You chime in when you need to.
All right. And right before we move on, I would like to just say that I personally feel as though the person that kicked off their brand being over like starting out in high school, at least as far as I can remember, is LeBron James. Like you had people like Shaq, and like I went to school in Ohio, like, you know what I'm saying? So Shaq and all them, like they showing up to his high school games just to see him. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't recall NBA players like flying out to go watch a high school player play a game prior to LeBron. And then his brand was already bigger than any college when he stepped foot onto the NBA floor. So
televising the high school games on ESPN for the first time.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean with that, but I feel like we can't understate what YouTube, social media, Instagram, Twitter has done to like professional, like amateur athletes and amateur sports in general. Like the ballers' lives and all that shit like that. Yeah. Like these channels that there are players that don't make it pro that we still talk about their hoop mixtapes to this day. You got a Kill Car, Seventh Woods and all these different players that didn't even make it to like so like, and that's those players building up. You know what I'm saying? And they losing when they go to a school. You gotta think about that.
Yes.
They're losing when they give their equity to a school. They went and lost it because were not able to perform how they needed to at a college program or whatever. So I do realize that the LeBron thing was a thing, but that was 03 when he came out. You know what I'm saying? Right. We're 15 years later. This Instagram, YouTube, basketball culture shit, where it's like millions of views on these kids. Who mixtapes? You're gonna hear about a kid named J.D. Davison pretty soon. Scoot Henderson. Like you're gonna be hearing about these kids. They're already doing it.
But what I was gonna say, Dane, to add to it, it's like in LeBron's era, it was more so organically happening,
by ear.
It was organically happening because people were hearing so much about him and the hype built organically, and it just kind of happened, and people just kind of started trying to make money off of it and do things with it. These guys are in full control in an era where, yes, LeBron, his talent dictated everything, right? Because he was just otherworldly talent. A guy like OJ Mayo, and this is just an example that I'm going to use. A guy like OJ Mayo, who I heard about his senior year in high school, we would have known about OJ Mayo when he was 15. We would have known about Eric Gordon when he was 16. You know what I'm saying? That's what these guys with that level of talent are doing. It's not just the one of one guys now. Like if you're talented enough to be a McDonald's All-American, then you've probably already been pushing your brand for 2 years by the time you get to that point. Right. And so to your point, Dane, like these players are being brought up to think about their brand from the time that they set foot on a high school basketball court. So yes, now it's definitely a problem for college basketball, because how are you going to tell me, who's been controlling my brand for 4 years before I even got here, how are you going to tell me what a good deal is and what a good deal ain't?
Right. How are you gonna tell me anything when I got 1 million followers before I stepped foot on your campus? Yes. I got 1 million followers before I stepped foot on your campus, and you need me to generate revenue for your school. I am going to generate revenue for your school. This is a proven fact, because they're going to watch to see me play because of a brand I built up, and I can't participate in any of the revenue. They're going to have a problem until they rectify that shit, bro. In college basketball, because I saw earlier, I think you were talking about the being able to retain players and have college superstars. You will never have a college superstar because there's no money in being a college superstar. There's literally no money in being a college superstar. None. So why would you forego any NBA years to be a college superstar?
Right.
Especially with the NBA contracts now, zero reason. Like that's another big part is the contracts are ridiculous.
You need to get into your NBA deal as quickly as you can so you can get to that second deal where you make that big bread. So why would you forego any NBA years to be a college superstar when they're not gonna pay you no money? They're not paying you shit. And if you do get paid on the side, they're talking about fucking up your eligibility, which could probably fuck up not really, but kind of could fuck up your draft stock, but not really though, because the NBA don't give a fuck about that shit. But
not anymore. Not anymore. They don't give a shit about it.
Meant something.
Yeah. Like by the time LeBron came through, they was like, yo, what? You guys gave him a couple of Mitchell and Ness jerseys. He got a Hummer. Look, man, go ahead, take your ass on to the NBA now. But I mean, it might have been a problem for LeBron if they weren't allowing one and dones. But
listen, Wiseman got paid.
Yeah.
He went number 2. DeAndre Ayton got paid. He went number 1. That shit don't matter, man.
That shit, they don't care no more. They definitely don't.
Because you know why though? Because everybody knows that amateur sports is a scam. So if you got paid, nobody cares because everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid except you. So get you some bread.
Well, I was going to say, who do you think's paying them? Who do you think's paying them? The people that are paying them.
The boosters?
I'm saying the people that are paying them are getting extra bread on the side that they shouldn't have too. Of course, like everybody getting the extra bread on the side. So like, yeah, you're right. So
Right.
Yeah,
So
but
with that being said, we're going to move on into the next topic, which is exactly what we're already getting into: players skipping the college experience altogether. And we kind of already started this topic with what we were just saying about players are trying to get to the bread early. And so when you have situations like the G League, who is now where the NBA is now putting major focus into it, and they're essentially trying to make the G League the minor league in basketball with the same as for baseball. Um, they and they're talking about putting players making 3 times as much as they are now in within the next 3 years. I don't know what college basketball could do um, to turn things around, and I just wanted to continue the conversation of players skipping the college basketball experience altogether. So um, I guess I'm just going to start this one here
go for
uh, because, like we've seen in the past with players like Brandon Jennings, essentially kicking it off early on with deciding I'm not going to play this game with you guys where I have to play in college for 1 year or 2 years and then go to the NBA. He said, I'm out. I'm going to go make some money in Europe and then I'm going to come back, get drafted and then go make some real money. And essentially at the time he was laughed at and
yeah.
and scoffed at. But now we see with players like LaMelo Ball, who is bona fide the rookie of the year this year, like they thrive in Europe and they come back here and ball out. And it seems like, and to piggyback off of our conversation earlier, it seems like the European game is more so focused on development of young talent than than college basketball here. So uh, with that, I don't see what's the point of going to college anymore. Like, why would I go? Why would I want to do that when I could go make money and develop my game better than I would here?
I, I think a major reason why you said the Euro game or what have you is more focused on the development of the players is because the veneer of that amateurism isn't there. It just isn't there. Luka Doncic has been playing in the pro league since he was what, 14, 15?
14. Yep.
Think
Yeah.
about it. Think about it, bro. Because
Yeah.
and this is the main thing that kind of like pigeonholes college basketball, and they are going to have to modify the way they do things, or in the next 15 to 20 years, the landscape will look completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is not football. In football, you have to wait till your body reaches a certain level of maturity to be
Yeah.
able to go and play with grown ass men. You gotta wait. You have to wait. Like there is no coming out of high school. Maybe with some there's
There's
a
a
level of coming
small
out of
group
high
of
school,
people that
Yeah,
can
but
do
do
it.
that to
not
be
really
Derrick
though.
Henry.
Not
So
really though. Not really though. Not really though. For the most part, you got to go do your years in somewhere else to make sure that you can go to the next level. With basketball, like let's just be honest. Why is there somebody regulating when you can go and financially participate in the American dream, in capitalism? Why is there somebody regulating when it's not that way with any of the other sports, right?
Yeah.
Can't you go? You can go be a golfer. You can go play tennis.
Shoot,
You can go do
Freddie Adu started playing.
baseball,
Freddie Adu
uh,
started playing when he was 15 for DC
uh,
United. Like,
football, if you want to call it soccer,
yeah,
all that different shit. But the black sports have people regulating when you can opt into the American dream, which is capitalism. So from there, it just doesn't compute anymore, man. It don't compute no more, man. So like you said, these other places they're more focusing on the development because there is that shit just isn't there. if let's think about this shit. If NBA teams were able to draft kids or whoever the fuck it is, if these teams were able to draft kids and start developing them from an early age, they would. Or if they were able to stash them in another fucking league and have another league develop these kids until they're ready to come play, they would.
They
but
would.
It's not set up that way yet. Now, I know that later on we're gonna talk about some of the mechanisms that are currently being constructed to kind of like change that up some, but it's just that in essence was kind of ruining the game in a lot of ways, ruining the college game. And to be honest with you, I could care less. The only reason why I started watching college basketball is because Stephen Curry during his run at Davidson. That's what started me watching college basketball. Before then, I never watched college basketball.
But you know what the sad part about that is? You'll never see another run like that because a guy like Steph with that level of talent will only be there for 1 year. Like if Steph was playing in today's era, he would be there for 1 year and gone. You wouldn't get to see his sophomore and junior year run. You know what I mean? And that's the sadness of what you're talking about. That's what got you into it. And that element of NCAA basketball don't even exist no more.
There's a plus side to that too, though, because Steph wasn't highly recruited. Maybe if he was able to like build out a online following, showing him making ridiculous 3-point shots and all this other shit. Maybe he would be able to change. And that in essence is the good side of. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I'm pro player, pro athlete. Fuck these schools. That's why I'm at with it. Fuck. So you ain't gonna get me saying nothing good about their fate because they done made enough money off of us. Fuck it.
Yeah. So, okay. So, to your point though, like you're talking about, like, I know we talked about why would you go to college? There's no benefit, really. You know, there's absolutely no benefit if you're nice. There's no reason. The whole EuroLeague stuff. Like I said, I think that's the future of American sports when it comes to this college stuff too, because the one example I gave Mark when we first brought it up is baseball. Baseball has a farm system. Baseball, I went to high school with a guy who got drafted. He got drafted before senior year was even over.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He got drafted by the Devil Rays. He got drafted by the Devil Rays, and he immediately was supposed to go play baseball. Hey, they're just the Rays now, but they was the Devil Rays back then. But either way, he ends up getting drafted by them.
He could also look at CC Sabathia.
Yeah, but he enters the farm system for a year, and then he decided he wanted to join the Army, and it was a whole thing. You know, he just took a different path. But that's a normal thing now, to where, if you, like you said, you talk about them, if they don't grow or change the way they do business, the NCAA, when it comes to this basketball shit, then that's what they're going to end up. They're going to end up like college baseball. Nobody gives a fuck about college baseball. You know what I'm saying? There's no use for it. College baseball is for guys that have no talent. Because if you have the talent, then you would be drafted as an 18-year-old.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or you would be put into somebody's farm system. You said what, Mark?
I said college baseball is for true amateurs. It would be.
Yes.
It's a true amateur sport.
Yes, but I'm telling you right now, that's the future of college basketball right now. If they don't change something, they're headed right down there with college baseball, because there's all these other avenues that people could go to. And I believe that eventually what we're going to see is an NBA, a true NBA farm system. I think they're going to tweak some stuff with the G League and all that stuff. And it's really going to be a true farm system. And I think the day that they go and do that is the day that we start getting better quality product on the court in the NBA. Not that I'm disappointed in the quality of the product now, but me and Mark always talk about the fundamentals and certain things that just aren't done right. And once you get, like you, Dane, you can maybe attest to this. Once you pay attention to the young talent a lot. when these guys get to the NBA, they're still raw. And the NBA coaches are just like, I don't care how raw you are. Number one, I'm not changing your game. Number two, I'm not making you learn anything new. Number three, we gonna run you how you are and try to build an offense around that and try to hide your
Basketball,
weaknesses.
basketball is just so different today than it
It's
was a while
yes,
ago. In a way, and I'm gonna push back on what you said a little bit. But speaking toward the main point that you were making, have y'all been paying attention to what the G League is right now?
yes, I
So
have
like
been.
they went and did a bubble. They're probably like, I want to say maybe like there were like 3 or 4 lottery players in the G League. Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga, and a couple other players. They're in the G League right now. They're going to be Jalen Green and Jonathan Kuminga are probably going to go within the top 6 picks. So you spoke toward like having like a real developmental, like they
It's
went
getting
to
there.
like in it's that in between, because right now the rule said you got to wait a year. So
Yep.
I'll just go. I'll rather go make some money instead of, you know what I'm saying. I'll go make
Right.
some money with that year. But what I wanted to push back to, you talked about the fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
The game, the NBA game today, it's in really good hands, and you're gonna have some really skillful players within in this next crop of NBA players, because all of these kids have trainers now. All of them
Yes.
have trainers now, and they train those things. The things that you're referring to, they
Yeah.
train those things. So, uh, it's a the game is in an interesting space.
Yeah.
And I think it's changing. I think it's changing for the better, because we'll see though. We'll see.
But this is what just to your point though. This is one thing. What I'll say is this is one of the issues I have with college basketball. These guys are getting developed
For the
at a
NBA.
faster and better rate in high school playing AAU ball than they are when they get to their 1 year of college.
Completely agree.
Absolutely, man. They're like, just to your point, like they got trainers, they got these AAU teams, they make money from the teams make the money, they can hire trainers and do all these things for them, that'll still keep their eligibility intact, you know what I'm saying? And for guys so before it used to be a thing of, hey man, I don't got money. It don't matter now if you got money or not, because as long as you're attached to either a prep school or an AAU, because the AAU circuit has changed a lot since my days. Yeah, like that's it, man. Everybody plays AAU now. Everybody plays for these leagues. So yeah, like it's just like I said, it's a sad state that most of the development is happening in high school. I still appreciate that, but the only thing I'm asking for is, if college ain't going to develop them, NBA, I just hope that the NBA starts digging more into that development role. You know what I'm saying? I think we're going to start seeing deeper. We already starting to see deeper coaching staffs. Like the fact that Jason Kidd is like a backup coach, assistant coach, is ridiculous. But this is what you're going to see more of this. I think teams are going to start going down that route to where it's like, yo, we need to start. Everybody wants all these young players and they want them raw. They're taking them raw like this. You're gonna need those coaching staffs to be able to develop them and to compete, man. There's no reason why we should see Julius Randle breaking out now instead of 2 or 3 years ago.
Right. You guys are absolutely right in what you're speaking on. And talking about one of those leagues that is going to help further develop players and give them another avenue, that overtime elite league is coming up, is one of the new leagues that is coming up. Overtime elite league is set to start in September of this year, and it will feature 30 of the nation's top prospects from ages 16 to 18. The athletes will be given a guaranteed minimum salary of $100,000 in addition to bonuses and equity in the league. The league's athletes will also have access to healthcare and disability benefits. If an overtime elite athlete chooses not to pursue an NBA career, the league will pay them to up to $100,000 to go towards college tuition. And it says players that participate in overtime elite will forfeit their eligibility to play high school or college basketball if they join the league. The site for overtime elite games has yet to be determined, but the league has some big names back. Some of these big names is Portland Trailblazers, Carmelo Anthony. He is on the board of directors for the league. And then there's former Chicago Bulls guard Jay Williams, Dan Porter, Aaron Ryan, and Zach Weiner. So
I think KG has a stake in it too. But continue.
But yeah, so essentially, this is what is next up for these young players. So now you're even talking about a young player that is already building his brand. Now there's supposed to be a league that's going to help you know what to do with those there's going to help you know what to do with those million followers that you have, and you're getting paid for the next step. So essentially, like we've been saying, college basketball is going the way of the dinosaur, as it seems. Like because there's absolutely no way if I'm a top player, I'm going from overtime elite to college basketball. Like I'm not going from getting paid $100,000 to not getting paid for a year so I could get paid for the rest of my life. No, like I'm skipping right over that and going into the G League, because with something like overtime elite, like that exposure that college basketball once upon a time provided is not going to be there. I'm not going to need that at all, because like to Dame's point, I'm getting it from my YouTube, I'm getting it from my Instagram, I'm getting it from my Twitter, and I'm getting it from overtime elite, like being on TV in high school. And then so when I go to the G League, I won't be lost in the sauce. People will already know who I am. They will already be checking for me while I'm in the G League. So that need for the exposure, which seems to be the only real thing that college basketball provides at this point, won't be there.
Okay.
What are you guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna speak first real quick, because there's extra things that they're doing in overtime league that I have to highlight. So it says, yeah, we already know about the players giving up their eligibility and all this other stuff, right? Now, here's the thing. They're going to be offered, it says the league will have an accredited academic program and will focus on courses like financial literacy, media training, and social justice. So these guys, like, they're actually going to have infrastructure for the things that you're talking about, Mark. Like, even if, let's say you just really talented and you just figured out you're nice at basketball at the age of 16 and you jump in there, you don't have no social media brand, these people are going to be training you for that. Like, they're basically going to be grooming these players so that by the time they get to the league, they already know how to conduct themselves as professionals and things of that nature. They know what to do with their money while they're making it there. So like the financial literacy program is a big deal to me. And the fact that former players are the ones that are reaching down past the colleges to reach down into high school to try to bring these guys up themselves. And when you talk about guys like Melo and Kevin Garnett is a guy that skipped college. Melo was a guy who should have never had to go to college, you know? So I like the fact that they legit have a vested interest in it because they understand. They were there, like, you know? So, but they also said whenever they do start playing games is they're actually going to be on a schedule to where they play top high school programs. They're going to play top prep schools. They're going to pay. So these guys are going to be like the Notre Dame of high school basketball. So they're still going to be playing the top talent, and they're probably going to do it at a more concentrated rate too. So now not only are you getting the exposure, but you're also sharpening your skills even more because of the concentrate. You're just going against the best of the best. And in turn, even if you're somebody who's not going to overtime, if now the prep school guys are going to have an even better team possibly to face, you know what I'm saying? So like steel sharpens steel. So I don't know, I just like the whole prospect of this. I would be a little bit more skeptical of it if it wasn't for the NBA players that they have that are involved in this. But because they're there, I believe that this is something that isn't just going to go by the wayside. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens with it, man.
You kind of speak toward me saying that basketball is a more liberal sport. Like, in the pro game kind of informs all of the ranks below it. So, like, think about the fact that Carmelo Anthony, or you said a Kevin Garnett, are lending their name to the overtime league. It legitimizes it. It legitimizes it. Now you can't just like shrug it off or wave it off like it's nothing. It legitimizes it on a level to where like, oh, this might be a real thing, because these are not people who we just see frivolously attach their name to things, And I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Granted, I'm more than sure that they're gonna fight. They're gonna have to fight the current structure of things, because I know that college basketball is just gonna like take this shit sitting down. They're not gonna take this shit sitting down. But I mean, it's kind of hard to. I want to say it's kind of hard to fight against what overtime is willing to do. Like you, the money, the college scholarship thing, the platform. It's just a different thing, and I'm more than sure that they're gonna allow these kids to play a pro game. So it's interesting, man. I don't know. We just gotta wait and see. Overtime is responsible for like Zion Williamson like getting the notoriety that he got. Like you gotta think about some of the shit like that. Like this ain't just like some random ass people. Like these are. I'm more than sure that those people in the brass that controls it think like, man, we're responsible for we're responsible with helping boost Zion's profile, and the people that got to capitalize off it was fucking college. Like they probably
that's probably a driving force for this.
They're figuring out a way to one, they want to opt into the financial component of it while also empowering the kids. So I'm with it, and I'm with whatever is gonna fuck up the system. Shock the system.
Oh man, so what I wanted is I had another point, because my bad. Go ahead. I'll let you go because I'm trying to collect my thoughts, man. Go ahead.
Man. I feel you. Because essentially, I'm with you, Dame, on that. What you're talking about pretty much, man. I've always been the type that says I'm more so power to the people over the system and over the powers that be, so to speak. What was your final point, Shawn?
Oh, yes. College basketball, NCAA is going to die, and when they do, they're going to die on their own sword. And what I mean by that is all the rules and regulations that they put in place, their whole infrastructure money-wise with the investors and the booster clubs and all this stuff, which is people that they have to answer to whenever they want to change something, the financial infrastructure of the sport, which is something that they would need to do to compete with overtime. All of those things, it's like they use that to box everybody else out away from the money to keep all the players down. And that very infrastructure that they use to box them out is what they're going to be trapped inside of. Because the amount of legal shit that's binding them and stopping them from being a viable, competition to overtime is all the legal shit that they built up over the years to keep to make their money. So they're stuck. They built their own coffin.
Well, this is essentially what you're saying is what I've always talked about. I like how these things are playing out. like, this is just in general, and in any other topic. I have noticed throughout life that you build yourself up to be the best product, and for everybody to come to you. And so so once everybody comes to you, you're like, great. Now I'm gonna give you my ass to kiss because because I'm the only thing out here. So now you have my ass to kiss. And if you want anything else, go fuck yourself because I'm the only person here. And and essentially what you do every time you do that is you create a need. You create a need that shouldn't be there, because if you just provided what they asked for, because if you had just started paying players $2,000-3,000,
That's
like, like
it.
we would not be here. Like, but you didn't want to pay players even that much. So now you created a need, and you created an opportunity that other people see, and they're like, oh, these guys need something. I can make money off of that. So let me go provide what they need so I can make money, and they make money at the same time. So it's a win-win over here. Meanwhile, you're telling everybody to go fuck themselves. So essentially, everybody is going to leave you and go over there where it's popping and where they could get their needs met.
Yep. They took the mutuality out of it, and here we are.
I think, and this is the wildest part about it all, right? So overtime elite, they're starting a league and all this different shit, right? Do you realize all it will take is for them to get a TV deal
Yeah.
for
Yes.
it to, because like I saw that shit with the XFL bullshit that started. The ratings were great. The
They
ratings were
were.
great. The ratings were great. They were doing well. The only thing that stopped them was the pandemic. That's what stopped them. The pandemic stopped
Yeah.
them. The ratings were amazing, and they had fucking ex-college players and failed pro players and all this type of shit in their
Well, the
league.
biggest thing is that the coaching staff. It was a who's who of
Right. That's
NFL and
fine. That's
college.
fine.
Yeah.
I'm more so talking about the talent on the field, where like X no name or whoever. Can you imagine if a league starts and gets a TV deal where there are named and ranked high school athletes? Like,
Man,
man, it's a different.
I'm
It's a
watching that.
different.
I'm watching
I,
that.
I'm tuning in too. What channel? What channel is
Yeah.
it on? What channel do I have the channel? What
Yeah.
channel is
Exactly.
it on? Oh, it's
Exactly.
you telling me Fox Sports One still needs programming? They still need programming?
There you go.
Oh, the channel where Undisputed is now has Overtime Elite, where the future Zion Williamson is. Like, come on, man.
Bruh.
Shit
The
writes
death.
itself.
I think who said 15 to 20 years? Because I think the death is coming a little
No,
quicker than
I
that.
like I think
I
that,
said 15. I said 15 to 20 years in terms of
Yeah.
like a complete overhaul.
oh that
Okay, yeah. But I think their death
but
is coming within 10 years.
yes, like I think you're calling that short, man. That death is coming soon. Now, I did not expect Overtime League to be starting so soon. I expected this to be next year, but it seems like it's already here. We're already in 2021, and this is going to be in September. So for anybody that is listening and is like, oh, I need to look out for this, look out for it in September. I personally will be supporting the Overtime Elite League. So I hope you guys do too. Check it out, September 2021. All right. And listen, Dane, I like what you're doing so far because look, man, usually I'm the segue king around here, but I see you as a fellow host of a podcast. You have your own way of helping us out with our segue because that's exactly what we about to get into. We about to get into the CFL and XFL.
You
And
know it's
like
funny. You know it's funny. I'm not even doing it on purpose, man. It's just natural. I did that shit to
Hey,
y'all twice, and I was like, damn, I
yeah,
did it again. My bad.
that's a gift. It's a gift.
hey, so so the CFL and the XFL, particularly the XFL, like Dane said, the popularity was already there for it. Like people, like it had the who's who of who didn't make it or who didn't get enough of a look. and that popularity, and the only thing that killed it was COVID coming up in the middle of the season. Um, so and so with that being said, and we're hearing about more players going to the Canadian Football League, and
Freeze man, yeah, that's
Oh, okay.
you.
So that's not me. Okay, yeah. Then you just completely froze, Mark. You just completely froze. You
oh
back?
no, that was you froze on my screen. So
No, it was
Oh,
you, bro. We were
yeah,
still
because
good.
James saw you freeze too. So that's the.
okay.
You're not gonna pin this one on me. It's usually me. I'm not gonna sit here a lot. It's
Hey.
usually me, but not this time. Hey, I'm hardwired in today, baby. No
Well,
fuck ups
listen,
on my part.
listen, man. Listen, every once in a while there's a hiccup, but we're still here. It
Yeah,
don't
okay.
matter.
But you
Um,
were talking about
but
the
like I was
XFL, yeah.
saying, in case that didn't come through clear, I'm just going to repeat it. CFL, XFL, with the with the popularity of XFL, just because people were excited for the product to be back, we saw that clear, and the only thing that stopped it was COVID, and the pandemic shutting everything down. And as far as the CFL goes, we already see, like, you constantly hear about, oh, this player went to go play in the CFL. This player, like, he washed out here, but he's now in the CFL. Blah 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 blah. And essentially, my question is there could there be an avenue to where the CFL and XFL becomes the minor league for the NFL, and what it would it take for there to be a second option outside of college football? Because
so
right now it's college football or bust for high school players.
so can I start this one?
Go for it.
Absolutely. If you
All right, cool. So I'm gonna make this clear, cut, and simple. The answer is fuck no, and it's because what I said before in the prior topics that we were talking about, where basketball is a liberal sport, football is a conservative sport. Um, all like it just is. It's a conservative sport. And these white people are not going to allow any type of, because like basically what you're trying to do is unseat the amateurism in college football, and it's just not gonna happen because white people don't give a fuck. Like they don't give the infrastructure that is the NCAA on that side of things. It's just a completely different ball game because like the capital that the black players have in the NBA, where it could trickle down and affect things on a lower level. Think about how the NFL approached the civil unrest shit before, like with Colin Kaepernick, and how they approached all that shit, versus how the NBA was like basically a model for how to approach those things, when like it's night and day when it comes to those leagues. And I think that informs how they approach minor leagues with that stuff. Like we've had attempts before. They had the NFL Europa shit before. That shit did nothing because nobody gives a fuck. Now, if you're gonna give the people, what do you say? I'm lost for the word of it, but like alternative. Like, yo, this is something different.
Yeah.
Like this is just something completely different. It's an aside to what you already invest your time in. That's one thing. But if you're gonna tell them that now we about to get rid of college football, oh hell no, they ain't getting rid of
Yeah.
college football. That shit
oh
ain't
well,
happening.
well
Man,
that's why I formed it as a second option, because college football, you are correct. College football is quite ingrained in how things work, so far, at least as it is right now. And there's a lot more of an avenue, for players. Like, let's just be real. In in college football, like, every player is getting paid in college football. Like,
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
like you know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it funky. Like, yo, if you in Alabama, if you in LSU, if you're in any of those big schools, if you're a starter or a second option on those teams, you are being paid.
Yeah, if you as a 5-star recruit, you got money in your pocket.
Exactly.
I don't know about all that. Y'all might be right. I don't know about all that. All I know is this. Like that shit like think about what it took to kind of upset the infrastructure that is college basketball. It took social media to kind of like create this fucking this windstorm that is like snowballing now. Like what would be the
catalyst?
No, what would be something like that for college? Because like I'm gonna be honest with you, nobody's gonna sit down and watch a high school. Like it's just different. The way you opt into a football experience is just different. Like the average sports fan, right? Like even if let's say for instance, like you don't know, you're not knowledgeable enough to know X's and O's and shit like that, but you are a watcher of the sport. You can't talk it, but you watch it every Sunday, every Saturday, or what have you, right? It's easier for you to opt into a Zion Williamson than it is for you to opt into a DK Metcalf when he was in high school. You get what I'm saying? It's just you are able to appreciate it on a different level. So it's harder for you to opt into that experience. And the only place that you can truly opt into it where it is a tangible experience for you to where you can like completely immerse yourself in it is when it is happening on Saturdays in college football. I mean, it's sad to say. I just don't see a situation where like there's gonna be like some other like place where amateurs could go and people will truly feel like they are watching something that is tantamount to the talent pool that would be college football. Like you're gonna look at an XFL, the CFL, and you're gonna be like, okay, this is where the shit pile goes.
Yeah. Okay. So
I want to push back on that a little bit, because you say like this is where like that's what it is today, like quote unquote, this is where the shit pile goes. That's what it is today. But as we know, there are players that fall through the cracks. Let's say Tom Brady was a 7th round pick, and had Drew Bledsoe not gotten hurt, we would probably never know who the fuck Tom Brady is. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there is more players like Tom Brady than we know about. Like, so there are players out there that has fallen through the cracks that are ballers, and you'll see them in the XFL. And
I agree with you to an extent, but it's like, so Tom Brady went to Michigan, correct?
Yeah.
So he goes to Michigan, which is why he was even on the radar to begin with, right? We have to start there. So so not only would so let's think about this. You said that we would have never knew about him if Drew Bledsoe didn't get hurt, but if he don't go to Michigan, we probably never hear about him at all. Like think about if he forgoes Michigan and goes to the fucking XFL, he's never gonna be in that, or the CFL. He would never been in that position. It's just not gonna like.
But what I was gonna say is he would have to be Kurt Warner or Doug Flutie. You would have to show up to the CFL, completely obliterate every single record there is for 5 years straight, and then maybe somebody will sign you to be the third string quarterback
and then have some freak
squad.
And then have a freak. So you got to completely obliterate the league, right? And then completely obliterate the league, and then you'll get a chance to be on a practice squad.
Yes.
And hope that an injury happens to, who was it? Was it Mark Bulger or Trent Green? Which one was it?
Trent Green.
So hope that an injury happens to Trent Green, so you could get a chance to play and then prove that you are actually talented enough. Like it's begging for too much, because the top end, you're gonna always view the top end talent as the people that's coming from I think the college ranks in that, because like you said, you have to go and play in some type of developmental situation.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go. You can't just go.
Okay,
can't
so
just go.
hold on,
so here-
because even in that, like, because what I'm speaking to, I'm not speaking to within the next 5 years. I'm not speaking to within the next 10 years. Like, I'm more so talking about the trickle down effect of possibly a 15, 20-year type deal. Like, for instance, like Deion Sanders put Jackson State on the map. You know what I'm saying? Like, Deion Sanders came there, bam, it's now on the map. And now you have young, and also the things that the civil unrest that has been happening has put HBCUs on the map as viable candidates to go to school and showcase your talents. Where once upon a time that wasn't the case. Now, as that continues for HBCUs, like, more players are going to start doing that, and now HBCUs will be able to compete in those big bowl games and in on that level. So essentially,
yeah.
so what I'm talking about is it's going to take, like, you're like, for now and for the next 10 years or so, like, you are exactly correct. But for the future, there is a possibility of trickling down to something starting to change and for it to become more common.
I have 3 points that I want to make, Mark, because you asked the question, how could it happen? If it can happen, how could it happen? There's a lot that has to happen. I agree with Dane. Like just talking about the Kurt Warner situation, like, you need a string of random fortunate circumstances to happen, because the depth chart is so deep. With college basketball and NBA, the rosters are so small. One person's effect, you're not just one person out of 10,000. You're one person out of 300 and however many is in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? It's a different impact that one star player can have over a star player in football. So that's one thing. But let me get to the point. The small schools, that was going to be my first point, Mark. The first thing that needs to happen is the small schools need to have an uprising. The gap between the prestige that comes with playing at a big school and a little school, it's starting to slowly close. But in college basketball, that gap has already been shut. The fact that you could go to Gonzaga and be a name brand just for going to Gonzaga, and all it took was 5 years of them consistently making a Final Four, like, that's what happened. Like, that the gap between the top schools, the big schools, and the little schools need to get closed first. And that starts happening by guys like the former players like Deion Sanders going to coach at a Jackson State, or going to intentionally coach at a smaller, lesser known school instead of going back to their alma maters like they usually do, and then saying we're going to build a program up from the bottom. Now, like I said, it's starting to happen with schools like Stanford and things of that nature. Iowa's always they're always getting their coaches vultured to the bigger schools. But that's what I'm saying. Like, these are the type of situations that need to continue to happen to close that gap between the bigger schools and the little schools. And once that starts happening, then people will be ready for that change. Because now you can take something that's not a name brand and make it a name brand. 2, the other thing that needs to happen is these quarterbacks. The quarterback is the most important piece to this puzzle. Quarterbacks, big time quarterbacks, if they start going to smaller schools, then guess what? Now people care about the smaller schools. So not only do you have to have the former players coach there, but you got to have the star quarterbacks go there, because nobody cares about anything else but the star quarterbacks. You could be the best running back on the planet Earth. If you're not a running back for a school that's big, that's known for running backs, then nobody cares who you are. You end up getting drafted in the 7th round. We've seen this. 3rd round, 4th round. So the quarterbacks are the only ones that really get evaluated like that based on their talent level, no matter where they play. The third piece of that puzzle is you're talking about these other leagues. You would absolutely need a quarterback that is basically, hey, I could go out into the draft, or I could have my pick. Like a Trevor Lawrence is a guy who was basically, you know, he had colleges looking at him his sophomore year in high school. It would take a guy like that to say, look, I'm going to take my talents to the XFL or the CFL instead. And if they'll have me at 18, then that's what I'm going to go do. That is, once that happens, then it'll be there. But the thing is, I think we're closer to that type of stuff happening now, only because of the types of contracts that the quarterbacks are getting and the types of leeway they're starting to get. Like nowadays, Mark, you see Mitch Trubisky is going to forever be a starter in this league, no matter how bad you think he plays. He's going to have a bunch of guaranteed money on his contracts, no matter how bad he plays. Once that security is there, that's the only position that has that level of financial security and career security. So once those people take that security and decide to use it for the greater good, to say, well, I'm going to put the XFL on, or I'm going to put the CFL on. I know my talent speaks for itself. I'm going to get drafted regardless because I'm a quarterback. Then that's the only route. But personally, Mark, I don't know if it'll ever get there because there's so much money in being a quarterback that if I think me going to the XFL or CFL means that I'm going to miss out on $100 million, $200 million over my career, then I'm going to keep it very vanilla. And then the other part of that is I'm going to bring race into it. Like black quarterbacks would probably be the ones to probably step over that line, but black quarterbacks, as long as they're still getting overlooked, even going to big colleges, they're definitely not going to be the ones. And a lot of the white quarterbacks, their parents are very heavily involved in their careers as well, and they're not gonna allow them to go do that. So
I think one thing that we need to key in on, as you were just talking, I think that a big difference between what we talked about with college basketball versus college football is the presentation of college basketball and the overall game that is college basketball is stifling the talent and how the game looks. I don't think that the platform that is afforded to the players in college football has suffered. I don't think that suffered. I still think that if you want to create a big profile for yourself, you go to college, you go play for a college, and that's where you create the most notoriety for yourself, by putting your skills on display there. Do y'all feel like the coaches are like kind of like fucking up the way they I'll say like fucking up the way that they're what's the word? Not production, but like bringing up the talent, like, you know, maturing these players. Like, I don't think they are. I think that
they're actually doing a phenomenal job.
And I don't think that the play is suffering in the NFL. I mean, you could say that the game has changed because of the rules, but I don't think that the play itself is suffering in the NFL. Like, I think that you're getting a quality product, you're getting quality athletes. I do think that in the next 10 to 15 years, it's probably going to be predominantly black quarterbacks. I do think that in the next 10 to 15, that's going to happen because if we're going to be honest about it, that's what you're seeing more so in the league.
But I think that needs to happen for this type of change to happen.
I don't even think if that happens, it will still happen because
I don't think it's going to happen at all.
Even with that happening, still the number one place to go and put your skills on display that will bear out the fruits of that reward is going to a college program. Now, if we're gonna talk about if players deserve to get paid, that's a different discussion. I don't see a mechanism to circumvent college football. I just don't see it. I don't see a mechanism that is anywhere down the line because we just wouldn't patronize it with any type of seriousness, and that in essence would fuck it up. Just honestly, that would fuck it up.
I'll to your points. I guess what you're saying, like in layman's terms, is the door isn't open. The door was open for college basketball because the product took a hit and because the development took a hit.
And also
the product is good and the development is good, then what's the incentive for
that
star player to go out?
Those two things that you mentioned, and also it being a liberal sport, it being the that cannot be for me at least. I don't know if y'all buy into what I'm saying.
No,
But
I
for
buy
me,
into
that
what you're
cannot
saying.
be understated. The football is an extremely conservative sport with a conservative base from the pro level to the amateur level. It is conservative.
Yeah.
Whereas basketball can be like you said, football has so many damn players and they come from different backgrounds and all this different shit. Like, it's different. And basketball is a predominantly, even though football is, like you said, the
Not like
quarterback,
basketball.
the quarterbacks have been the white players, and those are the players that have kind of had the most cachet. Basketball is a black sport majority, and as players age out of the league and find themselves in management positions and find themselves in coaching positions and just having economic power from being fixtures in the games and having money to kind of go back and have an effect on what's taking place in the game by and large. Those black players, those liberal black players, impact that league. Whereas football, think about what the players of influence. Like Drew Brees just retired. White player. Tom Brady has been dominating the league. Peyton Manning. You got like who are the players of influence that will kind of try to buck the system? They just won't. It won't. You won't see it happen.
Yeah.
All right. To Dane, to your point. Well, one, I'm going to push back and also kind of confirm your point as well, because I feel as though you are correct, that it is that NFL is largely conservative, but the reason why it won't change is less to do with the white players or the people in control, and more to do with the numbers. It is far too many people to have to unify to have one voice that then in the NBA or in the college basketball realm or whatever. There's the pool is much bigger. So you will always find a dissenting voice or someone that you can flip and just pull out. That's why the NFL loses every CBA, is because even if they were to strike, they can go grab a player that from anywhere, and it's happened in the past. They'll just grab somebody, and you guys will start to fall apart because you guys, it's too many of you to stand together.
Yeah, and you know what? And you know what? To add to that, Mark, it's the starvation. When you got players who's the 53rd person on a roster that don't know if he's gonna have a job through the season, and he's only getting paid, 250K, 500K, and that might be the last NFL check he might ever see. Guess what? When it comes CBA time and people want to strike, that person's going to be like, "This is my shot. This is my shot to get paid." It's like the starvation of the lower level players is a huge difference. NBA lower level players, they ain't starving like that.
So I'm gonna just be honest. You know what it sounds like y'all saying?
What?
Like, I heard both his points and your point, Shawn.
What?
I think what you're saying is college football just did a better job of fucking people over. In their system, not even college, but football in general. College and the pro ranks just did a better job of fucking people over, to where their shit is just so much red tape around that shit, to where it's impossible to get around that shit. They just did it better.
It's funny enough, because it's not the red tape that's the problem. The problem is that nobody is like you, the player. I can play on you. I could play on your situation and be because for instance,
I have an answer for that, but I'll let you finish.
For instance, a starting five in the NBA, a starting five in the NBA is it's only five guys, and it's like, okay, I can like we all can stand together, we can lock up, and if we don't play, that's it. Wrap it up. Like you know what I'm saying? Because the guys that's underneath us, they ain't shit. Like, but in the NFL, it's like you have to get like you're talking about 30 guys on one team that is that's viable to start. And a lot of times you have a guy that can actually play and needs to, and like to Shawn's point, he needs to show out. So I could be the devil in the backup quarterback's ear that says, "Hey man, he's trying to strike. He's pulling you along. Meanwhile, he already made 30 million and you made what, 500,000 just this year? Like he could sit out all day, but if you come play right now, you could possibly get his check. Like so that double here will make these players jump ship and not.
But there's a real easy solution.
But it's because of the infrastructure, though. What you're talking about is that infrastructure.
Yes, and to Dame's point, I agree with him when he's talking about the red tape, because the red tape is the guaranteed contracts. They're the only sport that don't got guaranteed contracts. That's the reason why you can play off the individual.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if I'm making $500K. If I know that I'm making $500K each year for the next 5 years, I'm willing to strike in the first year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm willing to strike in the first year. But that's the problem. It's like, yo, when you know that you have a $500K contract and none of it's guaranteed.
The Saints just gave Taysom Hill a 5-year, I think it's 5-year, 40, $140 million deal. And all of the years are voidable, meaning it is literally an invisible contract that he will never touch any of the money on. None. Just so they could like get around some cap stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, man, like
he's on call. He has an on-call contract. If we don't call you tomorrow, then you're just not getting paid. Like, like if we decide to not call you ever again starting tomorrow, you're just not gonna have no money. Like, yeah.
No, it's pretty much solidified that Taysom Hill, this is gonna be your last year in the New Orleans Saints, because you ain't touching none of that paper.
Well, they made that thing look sexy though, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, that shit hit the news wire. I was like, what?
Dane probably had a heart attack.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been saying, and I know this is kind of going some. I've been saying from the start, if Taysom Hill is my quarterback, I am not rooting for the Saints this year.
Right.
Hey, Mark, did I miss something or did we already segue?
No, we did. But
he trying to do it again. Go ahead.
No, but I'm in this one with this. In the NFL, we have seen we've kind of switched from talking about college football to what's going on in the NFL. But what I've seen in the past, as far as the NFL goes, is that anytime it comes to CBA time, the NFL does not basically the players today always sell out the players of tomorrow.
That's big facts.
Like they every single
but like Shawn said, they don't got guaranteed contracts, so they can't afford to. They can't afford to.
Yeah. But the problem is the people with the guaranteed contracts are selling out the ones without the guaranteed contracts. Exactly. It's like, your money's already guaranteed, bro. What you got to lose?
Yeah, like why?
Hey, Shawn. I'm white. Fuck your struggle. I'm a white man with $100 million contract. I'm a conservative. Fuck your struggle.
No, but see, it's not just them, because we're also talking. Like, here's the thing. I get like the large majority of wide receivers are black, and when it comes to if they're any good, they're all black. So,
hey man, I feel like you're disrespecting a couple people out there. You know,
Adam Thielen says hi.
Yeah, I can't even say Jordy Nelson anymore because he fell off. But yes, there's a couple
That's,
of names I
that's
feel
that
like
you kind of proving his point by going to fucking Jordy Nelson. How long ago was that?
Exactly.
He ain't been good in like 6 years.
Dog, look, I'm just working with the pool that I have in front of me, dog. What you want me to do?
Cole Beasley says hi.
No, we're not putting his name in that pot. No, we're not. I didn't want to reach down for that name. No, sorry. But continue.
But shout out Cole Beasley. He makes some good music.
I have to check him out.
But the point being is that if the wide receivers was to be like, fuck this, we're going to strike, like the product suffers. Like the product suffers.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't get them all to do that because it's too many of them. There's too many. There's too many guys that are waiting for their chance to do what DeAndre Hopkins is out there doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you have guys that are actually like backups that, yes, you're not on DeAndre Hopkins level, but you can play. You know what I'm saying? So like I can get you. I can grab you. Like, but back to my original point was that they always sell out their future. Like, for instance, the players of yesterday was like, oh, you want to franchise tag people 3 times? Go ahead. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm not going to have to deal with it. Like, you know what
they said. As long as you bump up that veteran minimum, and that's what happened. It's like, okay, exactly. The veteran minimum is bumped up. Y'all can franchise whoever y'all want for however many times you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right.
So I mean, it's that dog eat. There's very much a dog eat dog mentality in the NFL or in football in general, and that's mainly the problem because the players run the league. Like the owners don't run shit. The players run, and that's largely because back when they went on strike, they held hands locked together and said, "Go fuck yourself." Like, only in the NFL they dissented and people crossed the line, and that's where everything fell off, and they could never.
So you talking about baseball, which was is a predominantly white sport. They got their shit together, and the predominantly black sport that wouldn't allow black players to play the more power laden positions to where they would have influence. Interest. Like I'm listen, man.
I feel you, Dave.
It all goes. Listen. Listen.
I feel you. No, but I feel you. I feel you. But that's a deeper conversation than what we have time for, because trust and believe. They tried the same shit in baseball. They tried to get motherfuckers to cross the line, and it just didn't work out. Like, so. But like I said, that's a different conversation than what we have time for. So
I agree with you, Dame. I understand what you. I pick it up what you're putting down, brother. It's facts. It's facts on facts, man.
No, listen.
That's the infrastructure that was built, and it was built for that purpose.
Right.
That's not an accident.
No, okay. I understand and I feel you.
Yeah.
But I just feel as though the conversation is not just. It's not as black and white as that seems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the door is cracked.
It's quite literally black and white.
but let me put it this way, Dane. The door is cracked for a way out, and instead of us trying to bust the door open and drag everybody through, we got motherfucking individual players slipping through the crack and closing the door behind them. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like the opportunity isn't big. And it might not be 100% successful, but even with the little slice of pie that they do have, they rather just eat it for themselves and not share it. So it's just, so it is part of the problem. I'm not gonna, both of y'all have their points.
1,000%. So with that being said, we're going to move on and get into a different topic. I mean, our last topic went somewhere I didn't expect it to go,
Nah.
but it was fun all the same. Um,
All I
so
really want to, they don't really care about us.
Here we
so
go.
so um we are now officially into the new league year in the NFL. And I just and this is the first time that in a while, at least since I remember, that there will be no combine, largely due to pandemic and COVID reasons. Um, and there will only be pro days. And as we know, when you do your pro day is largely based on the things that matter to your position, or like the things that will showcase what you actually do on the field. So instead of running a bunch of, like for instance, for wide receivers, instead of running a bunch of different random cone drills and crap like that, you actually just go out there, run routes, and catch balls from from your quarterback of choice. You may do your 40 time or something like that, and blah blah blah, and they evaluate you that way. So and they certainly don't have you doing no crazy shit like a Wonderlic test. So
Mm.
um, I guess my question is why do combines have these seemingly pointless drills at times? And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Why do why are there all these unnecessary drills in the combine?
um,
Sean?
Hey, okay, I'll go first then. Nah, man. I think the idea of it came about to make everybody do every drill because there's all hey, we might find a guy that's just in the wrong position. We might find a quarterback that should be a wide receiver. You know what, I'm not even going to dig into that bag.
Hey man, hey
Yeah,
man,
forget, like, I'm
hey
not
man.
even going
Look,
to do it because Dame is already
I'm
he
gonna
already
I'm
he
gonna come
already
I'm gonna
there,
come
bro.
back. I'm gonna come back for the next segment, bro, because y'all about to have me sounding like Malcolm X on this motherfucker.
Hey, that's why I was like, you know what, let me leave that one alone. But you might have a
So you
cornerback.
mean to tell me that they was trying to? No.
But like, look, here's a better example. You have a guy like Richard Sherman who was a wide receiver that should have been a cornerback, or maybe you have a guy who is athletic enough to be a linebacker, but you have him at running back. I don't know. I don't know, man. But I'm sure that it originally came from somebody saying, you know what, that's great that somebody else already evaluated your talent. I'm going to evaluate every aspect to see that maybe we don't like you at this position. We can move you to another one. But that probably was a long time ago, Mark. Today, there's no reason for everybody to do every single drill. The problem I have with it is the it, a lot of times it's being used to either overhype the individual or it's used against them to downgrade or to cheapen the price tag on that player. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, like we're talking about, I know we talked about DK Metcalf and his shuttle time. I don't care what your shuttle time is. When I watch you run routes, can you get in and out of your cuts fast enough? To me, on film, he didn't get in and out of his cuts fast enough. But guess what? That's not what we're about to use you for anyway. And when you do get in and out of your cuts slow, it doesn't matter because you accelerate so fast that you're gonna take off on your on the defender anyway. So the type of routes that you need to run to that require you to get in and out of your cuts quick, they ain't the fucking routes we're gonna ask you to do anyway. That's something that you can determine without a cone drill. Once again, Mark, pro day. Hey, run this particular route. Okay, now run this particular route. I don't need a cone drill time to tell me that you're better suited for the deeper intermediate routes. For example, I know, like we in Dame, I'm gonna beat you to the punch on this one with the offensive lineman stuff. Mark, you mentioned you don't care if an offensive lineman has a 4.47 40 or whatever. Guess what? Yes, speed does matter. Is some depending on your scheme. I'm a Niners fan. We do a zone run scheme, just like the old zone run schemes.
Hey Mark, he might be better suited at quarterback, so you got to have him run that 40.
Hey, you know. but I say this, like, let me put it this way: the offensive lineman, yes, you do need to know if he's fast. You do need to know if a guard could be a pulling guard. You do need to know that if I ask this tackle to get out to the edge on a sweep or a reverse, then he needs to be able to get there. Yes, but that could be determined without a 40 time. You can ask him to run that drill. You can ask him to do that. Hey, I need you to pull right now. How fast can you get out there?
Like, exactly. Actually have him do football things and not just running track meets.
But what I'm saying is certain things you need the 40 time for. Right. A wide receiver might look fast, but guess what's going to tell you that he's fast enough? When everybody's fast and you're in a position where everybody's fast, you do need to know down to the hundredth of a second how fast they are. Because it matters at that position. But for offensive line, dog, I could break that down in film.
What your 40 time point, So what about a player like Michael Thomas who doesn't have a great 40 time and he goes in the second round when he's clearly a first round talent, but he didn't go in the first round because of his speed. So what about a player like that? Like obviously that shit don't, you know what I mean? That definitely didn't tell a story on him, right?
It didn't, and the combine doesn't tell the whole story. And Jerry Rice is somebody who has a horrible 40 time.
So why did Pete Carroll make DK Metcalf take his shirt off? I just thought that was weird, man.
There's a lot of weird stuff happening in Seattle. I don't sit here and pretend to understand what Pete Carroll be thinking, but I will tell you this. You know, he asked him to take his shirt off, and then he took his shirt off. Things got weird. I don't know, man. But I'll say this.
You saw him trying to get in the focus.
Yeah. I was trying to get this. Yeah. So yeah. No, I mean, like Michael Thomas is. But Michael Thomas is a perfect example of why the combine, certain parts of the combine shouldn't be as important. But don't get it mistaken. Like I absolutely believe that wide receivers, cornerbacks, and running backs, they should all do 40s. You know what I'm saying? Because it matters at your position. That's what I'm saying. You should only do the drills that matter to your position. Not every single drill that exists in the combine. And that's the only bit of reform that I would like to see. And like Wonderlic does not need to exist.
Okay. Like here's a perfect one that, like, for instance, why are offensive linemen doing jump drills? Like, what's the point of
You're never gonna be jumping.
Yeah, like what are you doing? Why do I need to see how high you can jump if you're a fucking offensive lineman? You never know football situations, man. You know, Bill Belichick, he drove football situations. You never know what could happen on that football field. Hey, man.
He could end up at DT. He could line up at tight end.
What if you gotta jump? What if you gotta jump to protect, like, your quarterback from getting a blindside hit on them or something like that? You never know. Like, you might have to literally jump, and you jumped the highest on the team, so you was able to save the quarterback, and now you're the town hero.
Oh, this is Sim level of reaching right now.
I'll be honest.
Like, I'm not gonna let you rock with that, Dave. I'm not gonna let you.
Bro. I'm kind of trolling. I'm trolling. I ain't gonna lie. It's like, I understand what it's for. I understand what y'all saying. Like, but to an extent, like, think about what this shit is. Think about what a fucking combine is. You get people, you make athletes congregate in one place, and you fucking measure them. Like, that shit is just weird, dog. It's weird.
You know what's crazy? If I really wanted to send Dame down a path, I'd be like, dog, this is some Sambo shit. You watching these dudes You watching these dudes showcase themselves so they can be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Reminds me
That whole process, that's a completely different discussion too.
It
Maybe
is.
y'all can have that discussion about
Dog.
how drafts in general, like, that's something else though. But I'm not gonna troll this shit. How I think about it is this: fast motherfuckers shouldn't have to run. Strong motherfuckers shouldn't have to lift. Like, if you know that I'm strong, you don't need me to lift shit because you already know I'm strong. If you know that I'm fast, you don't need me to run because you already know I'm fast. Lamar Jackson didn't need to run a 40 at the fucking combine because everybody knew that motherfucker he didn't because he didn't need to. Everybody knew he was fast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, that's how I look at that shit. Like, all these measurables and shit, like, man, listen. You saw me play, bro. You put the tape on, you saw me play, bro. You seeing some fucking measurables at a fucking combine ain't gonna let you know if I'm nice or not. Like, get the fuck out of here.
This is what I'll say. The only thing that I feel like doing every single drill helps, it helps the lower level, the guy that went to JUCO because his grades wasn't good and he transferred to Kansas State, you know, for his junior year and then showed out, but nobody cared because he was at Kansas State as a junior.
And the Wonder League is racist.
Yeah, well, we're not even going to get.
Oh,
well, we can't get into that. We can't
Shawn,
get into that. We can't get into that.
Tell that story.
Okay, real quick before we get into that, my example for the players that need the combine is a guy like Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis would have never been a first round pick if he didn't do the combine. So guys, it does benefit certain guys to do every drill. It does, apparently it matters a 40 time for a tight end.
But then again, you have guys like John Ross, who shouldn't have been a first round pick, but because he run fast, magically was. So
it's a double-edged sword, but you got to combine the combine shit with the film.
Exactly.
But it's all convoluted. People put too much. I think our problem with the combine is people put too much stock in all that other stuff. And if they weren't putting too much stock in it, we wouldn't even care that linemen are running 40s. But the fact that some asshole is going to highlight that a tackle just ran a 4.8 40, then that's the reason why we feel like they just need to remove it and save these scouts from themselves.
This is another point that I wanted to make. You need the combine for Madden. You need it for Madden. How else would you be able to fill out all the attributes on Madden?
Yo, why you joking, man? There's money. See, this is a problem. And I'm going to touch on this real quick. There's money behind the combine, and that's the reason why it's never going to go away. It's a spectacle. It's an event. What the combine is a field day for NFL players. It's a field day for NFL prospects, and because it's going to be televised and everybody's going to scrutinize and talk about, NFL is the king of making sure that their sport gets talked about all year round, even when they're not playing. And part of that is the combine. All of this shit is to keep their names in the media and to make money, and that's that's the thing. That's the truth about it.
Hey, Mark, he got every explanation about this combine shit, but he cannot tell me why Pete Carroll took his shirt off with DK Metcalf. He cannot tell me why.
Listen, but Dame,
you're gonna have to ask your co-host for that one.
Dame,
he's not with that shit either.
Dame, you are lucky enough to join us because Shawn is about to regale us with story time of Wonderlic test question.
Hey, gotcha. But look, my headphones are low, so if they die, and I have to fall off, I'm gonna go look for my other ones and hop back on.
Right.
Okay, but yeah, okay. So we gonna talk about we talk about these questions, man. And one of the questions that was asked. So I don't know if I remember the player's name right now. I can't remember who it was, but it was a bit. You know what? No, you know what? Give me a second to bring the notes up. You're right. I did write it down, and I wrote it down for a reason because I knew this moment was gonna happen. I was gonna forget this shit. So let me bring this up. Okay, there we go. Wow. Nope, didn't even write the dude's name down. Okay, so a question was asked to an NFL prospect whether his mom slept with men for money. He asked him if his mom was a whore. and if she did drugs for sex or had sex for drugs. They're asking these random questions that have nothing to do with anything and that are quite disrespectful. And one might say that there is racial connotations behind it. These are some of the things that are being asked in these interviews and the Wonderlic test and all these different things. And the under the guise of, we just want to see if we could rattle them, or we just wanted to, and I don't understand what part of the game that's in, but it has to me, it has no place. And to me, I feel like it's just used as a tool to try to weed out somebody that you don't feel like looking at.
They definitely didn't ask nobody if their mama was sucking dick on
I'm gonna
Sunday
bring it up right now
on a Wonderlic test, man. That wasn't on no Wonderlic test.
Well, that was during the interview, which is still part of what they do when they, it's part of the combine. They do the closed door interviews where they just allowed to ask them whatever question they want.
Sean. Wonderlic is a Wonderlic test. That ain't got nothing to do with your mom. Asking if your mom was giving sloppy toppy on Tuesdays and Saturdays, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. You got to give the NFL some credit, Sean. You always talking about the man trying to hold you down, Sean.
No, that's definitely not me, man. They can't hold me down. They can try if they want to. The only man that's holding me down right now is Mark by calling me Shawn Redacted. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got nobody holding me down.
Hey Mark, while I've been the one that's been talking about the man the whole show.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what is Shawn? So y'all not gonna tell me what Shawn Redacted mean?
Oh, well, Shawn Redacted is because he claims that one day I said his last name and didn't say my own. But I did say my last name first in the episode. I believe it was like episode 6. And like you could clearly hear me say my last name, and then he said, "Yo, you going to be out here giving my full government and shit, this, that, and the third." He made a very big deal about me saying.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, you Shawn Redacted for real. That's hilarious.
No. See, the funny thing is really what happened is he doesn't remember it. He just remembers it wrong. I don't know what's wrong with his memory, but he referred to himself just by his first name, and then he gave me my whole name. He just gave his first name, but then he introduced my whole name. So I felt like, and you got to understand though, like the couple episodes prior to that, I might have said a couple of disparaging things about James Harden, and then Mark started to give my address out and shit. And then, so I'm like, at least he don't know my name. And then the next episode, Mark gave him my full name. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I had to let him know. I was like, damn, that's Mark, you're just gonna put my whole shit out there. And he's like, nah, I gave my last name too. And I'm like, no, you didn't. You know what I'm saying? And that's where this whole debate over whether or not, he actually said that or not. Okay, here it is.
Shawn Redacted is amazing. Shawn Redacted is amazing.
I got 2 articles up right now. So Darius Geis was the guy I was thinking about. It says they asked him, does he like men? And they said, I heard your mom sells herself. How do you feel about that? These are the closed door interviews that they allow them to ask them whatever questions that they want to the players, and they've been using it to try to see. Dog, that's not a character check.
Hey, I'm about to say some wild shit, right? So Mark, what if you heard that like there was in one of these interviews, and the person that's asking the question was like, "Can I suck your dick?"
Dog, hey, brings me to my next point. Because I got some of the top.
I just was trying to rattle you.
Hey, I got some of the top. They say the top weirdest interview questions. Okay, are you ready for these?
Hold up, I need to be very clear. My answer to that would be fuck no, and I'm out there. Because I don't want nobody being like, Mark never answered. Like, nah.
And they have it on record, but like he refused to answer the question. Like, what do you mean he refused to answer the question?
He said, I plead the fifth on grounds not incriminate myself.
Mark said he gonna pick up his glasses, pick up his briefcase, head out of that bitch like LeBron James.
Hey, let's be honest. It's a lot of players. It's a lot of players that would have go ahead and man, hurry up, man.
Look, okay. So here's some of the questions. I'm gonna start rattling them off here. Somebody asked cornerback Chris Boyd, do you have both of your testicles? Okay. Here's another question. Okay, here's another question. If you could kill someone and not get caught, would you?
Marvin Harrison would say yes.
Marvin Harrison would say no because I'm not dumb enough to answer that question because I plan on killing somebody in the future. But
hey, Marvin Harrison, I obey all traffic laws.
Hey,
I look both ways before crossing the street, Marvin. That was Mark and Shawn. I ain't had nothing to do with that shit, Mr. Marvin.
Look,
Mr.
man,
Harrison, it wasn't me.
Yeah, you know what? We do know his track record. You know what? Second thought, hey, Mark, I'm gonna need you to delete this section there. This is a segment here. All right, let's get back into it. Do you think your mother is attractive?
This some weird shit.
Yeah, I see you have dreads. I see you have dreads. You smoke weed, don't you? Okay. If you had to murder someone, would you use a gun or a knife? Like, that ain't a goddamn trick question. Like, there ain't an option where I don't murder somebody, where I just decide not to. You asking me if I do it, is it gonna be a gun or a knife? Like, this is crazy. I went in for a meeting and for a handshake. How you doing? And he punched me in the chest. He was like, "You have a soft chest." I was like, "Okay," and we just kept it going. They asked him what team it was, and he said he don't even remember which team it was, dog. Like, it says guard, Charlotte guard, Nate Davis.
Wow. He punched him in, like, yo. That's
dog, he went in for a handshake. That man gave him an open chest. It told him his chest was soft, dog. We would have had a scrap. I'd just be like, damn, today's not the day for me to be a professional athlete, is it, huh?
Yo,
you know what I'm saying? This is wild.
1,000% choosing violence that day, dog.
Dog, hey, I'm gonna whip his ass and then I'm gonna fucking expose that shit and sue him. Like, I'm like, ain't nothing in the bylaw said that you could punch me in my chest, dog. Like, but this is the wild shit that they're doing. Like, so my question is, after going through all these questions, dog, does this part of it need to just go away, man? These interviews that they're allowing them to ask literally whatever question they want.
Right.
It doesn't need to go away. How do y'all feel about that? Like,
oh, no, absolutely. There's absolutely no reason for that.
Yeah, I'm just mad that it's still happening.
If they was asking this, if they was asking this shit to some women, it'd be times up Me Too around this motherfucker.
Hey, for real though, for real.
Listen,
that's crazy, dog.
So ask me about my balls. I'm not comfortable with you asking me about my testicles. Listen, see, look, I asked her. I thought I was about to have some salacious shit to say, funny shit, and come to find out, they've been asking about ball sacks since the beginning of time.
Dog,
and then look, this is the thing. This is what tripped me up about it. That white man probably don't even care if you got two tests. He just wanted to know for his own personal self.
Why? So he can take his shirt off next to you, ask you to take yours off with Pete Carroll DK style. Look, man, I don't know, man.
Listen. They got people in the NFL
no, Dave,
smoking.
I'm gonna address this DK
Shawn,
shit.
But look, Shawn, they got coaches in the NFL smoking cigarettes out of toes and shit, bro.
Dog, look, man, look, that is true. They got them doing coke in the bathroom in between coaching meetings too. But I tell you what, I'm gonna get this shit out of the way real quick for this Pete Carroll DK. You asking the wrong question. You asking why he asked him to take his shirt off. The better question should be, why did DK take his shirt off when Pete Carroll asked him to?
Well, DK got drafted in the second round.
So that's it. Yes, I'll take my shirt off for you, Pete.
You gotta take them titties out, man. You dropping in the second round, you gotta take it out, bro.
You're like, you know what? For you, I'll do that. I'll take my shirt off.
Now look. I bet he won't take. He done had some good seasons in the NFL. I bet he won't take his shirt off no more.
Yeah,
like Mark said earlier, beggars can't be choosers, man. You want me to take my shirt off? I got you, bro.
Yeah, that's a wild thing, man. I don't even want to go into it on a deeper level.
Don't associate me with whatever you just say. Going to say like Mark said.
I said.
Like Mark ain't say shit like that earlier.
What you
Like
mean
you
that?
thought
Look,
you thought
Mark.
you was going to
Mark, let's
slide
be
that in,
Mark.
and I
Mark,
wasn't
let's be
going to do
honest. Let's be honest, Mark. You ain't got to worry about it. They've heard the whole show. They know what you said. That's why I can refer back to what you said. You didn't say nothing. You ain't say nothing borderline or nothing, bro. I got you, bro. I wouldn't even do you like that. If I wanted to, it would be way more deliberate.
Look, man, somebody will be eavesdropping and
It
only
might
hear that
possibly
part.
happen, Mark, at some,
They,
but it's
you
gonna
know
be
what
more
I'm
deliberate.
saying? Somebody be halfway listening and only hear that part where you mention his name and be like, damn, Mark's he's a wild dude.
Exactly.
Like, shit.
Man, but yeah, I agree with you though, Shawn. I mean, it should have never existed in the first place, but
No,
it's football, so it's gonna be around because nobody has control over what the fuck they do. They're
that's
gonna still
facts.
keep asking about nuts, man.
So, all right. So,
Let's go.
look, all right, man. So, thank you, Shawn, for story time. That was excellent. But let's get serious about football once again. Let's bring it back home. All right, NFL free agency officially started today. For those out there that don't know, today was 3/17 and a Wednesday, and NFL free agency officially started at 4 p.m. And a lot of guys that were projected to be available on the market were already snatched up on Monday in the tampering period. Um, and Shawn, this is just to you. Some of the guys that we expected to be in free agency, it seems like teams kind of cowered out and decided, oh shit, I'm not gonna let my guy actually get out there because Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones being one person in particular who was supposed to hit free agency this year, uh, the the Packers must have got wind of what he could have been offered out there, and then next thing you know, he's signing a 48 million. He's signing a $48 million contract or whatever with the Packers immediately. So like on Monday, and I was like, "What?" But he was supposed to be testing the waters, like you. So it was like, "Oh, go ahead, see what's out there," and then they got wind of what was out there. They was like, "Oh shit, no, go ahead and sign this paperwork," because you got guys like Von Miller who was supposed to be a free agent this year, never actually made it to Wednesday. You got Aaron Jones never made it to Wednesday. Um, all these guys that actually got re-signed by their team now when they could have been re-signed by their team prior to the tampering period. So I just find that part interesting that teams like the amount of teams that actually got scared. It was like, oh, like nah, and went and got their guy back. Um, but there are still a few guys that's still out there, like Kenny Galladay, um, and I don't know. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my
There's there's guys. I mean,
But there
like you
is
said,
no, there's legitimately guys that's out there. I guess my question to you guys would be, but what would you like to see your team do in this free agency period, Shawn?
actually, no. I'm gonna let Dame go first because I have to step out for a second, check on my daughter.
Okay, no problem.
But yeah, go ahead.
But Dane, so I'm gonna ask you, your team is low on free cap.
Not
So
really. We make money wherever we want to, man. That shit ain't real. The cap ain't
no,
real.
no, you are absolutely right in that money can always be pushed into a later date or rearranged in some way. But at some point, you will have to pay the tab on on the guaranteed money that's out there.
The Saints been doing this shit for years, man. Let's just be real. The Saints been doing this shit for years, bro. Like, so that'll be all right. But if the question is what do we need? Like, what do we need? Is that the question? We need a lot of shit now. We need a lot of shit now because we we cut all of the good shit that we had. Like we fortified our cornerbacks. We had Janoris Jenkins. He wasn't the greatest. He wasn't the greatest second corner, but he was really, really serviceable. We don't have him no more, so we need another corner. They're talking about looking at Richard Sherman. We have his old secondary old cornerbacks coach that he's familiar with, so that might like give us a little bit of leeway with that. So him, we need an outside linebacker. We just lost a pass rusher. We lost T-Rex. Trey Hendrickson, he went to the Bengals. We cut. What else did we cut? There's somebody else that we cut. Oh, we need a wide receiver. We need another wide receiver. We just cut Emmanuel Sanders, so we're going to need another wide receiver. We finally got a wide receiver to put opposite of Michael Thomas, and that fast we lost him. So, yeah. In terms of quarterback, I feel like we good. I'm cool with Jameis being our quarterback of the future. You know what I mean? I feel like Sean Payton could get the most out of Jameis. So,
do you really think that that Jameis has a fair shot to possibly be your quarterback of the future?
I think it's pretty much well known that Taysom ain't the guy. Shawn gave him his chance and he failed. And that's pretty much that. Like Shawn even was critical of Taysom. It's just certain quarterback shit that Taysom ain't good at. He's not a quarterback. You know what I mean? He's not a pro quarterback. You know what I mean? He's just not. He's late. He's late to reads. His mental processing is very fucking slow, and he just can't make pro reads. He can't read an entire field like a pro quarterback can. He just can't do it. Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than he is, and he will. I'm very confident that he will beat him out for the starting job of the New Orleans Saints. And after this season is over, Taysom Hill will no longer be under contract, and we're going to sign Jameis Winston to a long-term extension.
Okay, so you feel as though Jameis Winston has a legitimate chance with your team, and you think Jameis Winston has the chance to actually lead your team to his resurgence in the NFL.
I think so. I mean, he has a quarterback guru as a head coach. He has Sean Payton as a head coach. That's one. Two, he has a system that I feel like is tailor-made to what his strengths are. He's had all the eye shit fixed. Him needing his eyes fixed and all that shit. He's had all that shit fixed. He's good there. He's had a year in our system, and I mean that's kind of why Shawn didn't want to have him play last season, because he didn't want to fuck up his development in the system. You don't want him to go out there and not really have a complete command of everything. The difference is Taysom has been on our team for probably 3-4 seasons, so he should know the system by the back of his hand. And he got out there and he could not make the simplest reads imaginable. He just couldn't do it. When Sean Payton finally gave him full field reads, not just half field reads, he gave him full field reads to make. He could not do it. And that's part of the reason why we lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, because he just couldn't make simple reads. People were wide fucking open for touchdown passes, and he just never got there. His process. So yeah, that's why I'm at on it. That's why I'm at on my team and everything. We need certain things that we lost because we had to cut people. But in terms of our quarterback, I feel like we got him in the building right now, and his name is Jameis J. Boo Winston.
Jameis Crab Leg Winston.
Listen.
Okay.
The dude gave him the crab legs for free, and then when he got jammed up by his superiors, he tried to say Jameis came stole him crab legs. That's what happened. Did you not hear the full story?
Oh no, I did hear the full story. I just thought it was funny that they asked him the question and he was like, "Yo, I got drafted and now I'm gonna go eat some crab legs." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the boy James is a fool. But yeah, so
hey man, also out here trying to eat a dub.
Yeah, now you can eat a W with the squad. Come get a W with the squad.
Look, man, dog, he is the troll. He's the troll king in the NFL. But That's neither here nor there, dog. Like I call him crab leg because he chose to keep trolling with the crab leg shit afterwards. But yeah, nah, I agree with you, Dave. I like Jameis for that team and for that situation. And the biggest thing to me is Jameis has arm talent. Sean Payton to figure out something. You know what I'm saying? And that's and the eye thing is what I'm really trying to figure out. Like me and Mark talked about this. Like when he said he's going to get LASIK, we like, oh damn, this man been playing blind the whole time. I'm really trying to see what it looked like.
Yeah,
though.
I'm trying to see if the LASIK thing is real or not. Like
He's been playing blind since college. I don't know if y'all remember him on the Florida State sidelines, squinting, trying to look at them fucking
He's
cards.
always squinting. That's what I'm saying. Like people want to knock him for his interceptions. Dog, like maybe now that his eyes are fixed, maybe he's not throwing picks anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to throw the ball 25 yards down the field, but you can't see what the fuck is out there. You know.
Before we move on from me talking about my team, my team. I want to make one more point about Alvin Kamara was on a trajectory to have a historic season for running backs, what he was doing before Drew Brees got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees got hurt, and Taysom Hill rendered Alvin Kamara useless. He just did not throw him the football at all. He didn't know how Taysom Hill is a terrible screen thrower. He throws it 100 miles an hour. He has no touch on, like, he rendered Alvin Kamara useless. I just wanted to put that in there because Alvin Kamara was on pace to have a historic passing yard, rushing yard season. He was on trajectory to do that.
That was something that we, I think we might have mentioned it in one of our episodes very briefly. But yeah, we did notice that he just completely, not only did it was weird, like his carries went up. And his catching went absolutely damn near to zero. He went down to like getting like 2 catches a game. It was insane. Like I don't know what the hell was going on. And then they couldn't get anything going on the ground because nobody was respecting Taysom's arm, like what he was doing in the passing game. So like, yeah. I will say that Taysom needed to go. I don't even think he deserved the amount of time that he got. You know. Seeing as though they went and got Jameis for a reason last year. So, but either way, I guess I'll get into my Niners there, Mark. We're talking about free agency. Mark, I'm still upset. You know, we talking about free agency. We wouldn't even be talking about my team in free agency if we would have made the trades or the moves that I wanted them to make. You know, I just want a quarterback. That's it, Mark. I just want a quarterback. Is that too much to ask for? Mm-hmm. And then, okay, talking about free agency now, it's a problem because Kendrick Bourne is now a Patriot. We let him walk. We already had depth issues at wide receiver because our wide receivers get hurt a lot, probably because of our shitty field. So I feel like we don't need to give that up. But I'm sure what they're thinking is, hey, we're going to get it in the draft. We've been knocking it out of the park with the running backs and the wide receivers in the draft. I trust them to still replace them, but my problem, Mark, is what we lack, what works for us in the fact that we have guys that we could just pull up and step in and play. That's a positive, but what we lack is consistency, which is what I think is going to be an issue. We don't know who the hell is playing wide receiver week to week. You know what I'm saying? We just let go of Kendrick Bourne, one of the only receivers on our roster that actually stayed healthy for the past 2 years. There's rumors swirling about Deebo Samuel, possibly, Patriots trying to make a move on Deebo Samuel. We have all these running backs. I'm okay with that. Our defense, we need health. But, Mark, the one thing we're still missing is we need defensive backs. And we need a quarterback. That's it. We haven't made a move on anybody for defensive backs, and we haven't made a move on anybody for quarterbacks. So, I mean, as far as free agency goes,
only thing we need a quarterback, and this said that's it.
Hey, look, Look, Dame, man, my feelings is too hurt already for me to even give you the responses you looking for, dog. like, like I really am heartbroken that Jimmy G is going to be our quarterback. And me and Mark went over it when we signed Josh Rosen, and I was like, I absolutely was the first person to say that Josh Rosen is the forgotten about quarterback that hasn't actually gotten an opportunity or a shot to prove his worth. But I didn't mean for us to sign him. What the fuck? I was like, the second we signed him, I automatically knew that Jimmy G was going to be our quarterback this year. That was my problem with the Josh Rosen signing. So, like, I know the reports came out that Deshaun Watson was talking about possibly, wanting to go to the Niners or the Broncos. That's what I would like to see. But outside of that, Mark, so since I don't think we're going after anybody, but yes, get a cornerback. They're out there, but there's no quarterbacks in free agency. We spent a lot of money on Kyle Juszczyk. That's all I can talk about with free agency in my team. The signings. We signed Kyle Juszczyk to the biggest fullback contract that's ever existed. That's great.
What a waste of time.
None of this shit matters if we don't have a quarterback. Like, you could have just signed Kyle Juszczyk with any contract. He's a fullback, dog. Like, we don't need to go. But my problem is we keep signing. Every time we sign somebody to a free agency contract, we overpay. And it's already caught up to us this year. That's why we were strapped. We had to let people go. And I don't know. We just not learn our lesson. So, Mark, I don't know, man. I'm just disappointed in our team in general for what we've done in the offseason. This is probably one of our worst off seasons, if you ask me. Matter of fact, to end it off, Mark, name one major move that we made in this offseason. Exactly.
I mean, it's only Wednesday. It's the first day, so
talking about everybody that made trades and done all kind of shit. Like, you got Drew Brees retiring, they're announcing contracts with Taysom Hill and shit. Like, people out here making moves. Only thing we did was sign Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, I legitimately thought, Dane, that Drew Brees was going to fuck y'all over and say he was coming back. I really did think he was going to do that to y'all.
I knew he wouldn't. I knew he wasn't going to do it when. At the beginning of when that shit started, he did that shit for his salary to be like at 1 million or whatever.
Right.
He did that shit. He did that. That lets you know that he was retiring. That lets you know.
Yeah.
That let me know. I mean, yeah. As far as the Niners go, y'all are in good shape, man. All y'all need to do is draft a quarterback.
Hey, man.
You think that's what we doing, Dame? You think we drafting a quarterback?
What pick y'all got?
Y'all should trade for Miami's pick.
We six or
y'all
7.
Pick 6?
No. Are we 6?
No, you're not. The Eagles are 6.
Okay, we're above that. We're like 8th then. I think that's what it is. We're 8 and the Eagles are 6. So like, okay, yeah, we're too far back. We got to move up.
Look, they already like planting seeds about Justin Fields and how he ain't shit. So maybe he'll fall to you.
I'm telling you, if he falls, we're going to skip right over him. We're going to draft another defensive player. Maybe I'm starting to lose faith in my team's ability to do the right thing when it comes to these situations. Well, not even these situations. We just don't know what we're doing with quarterback. We're making all the other right moves.
Y'all need to trade for Miami's pick.
Absolutely, Mark. But I'll tell you one free agency.
And I want you to trade for Miami's pick because Miami right now is the biggest threat to the Eagles receiving Jamar Chase. So if you jump up there and go ahead and get your quarterback, then Jamar Chase has a much better chance of falling to us at 6.
Hey, Mark, let me tell you who's winning right now. The Steelers are winning off of the simple fact that nobody cares about Juju Smith-Schuster right now. He's sitting out in free agency and nobody give a fuck about him.
At all.
They about to re-sign this dude for a cheap-ass contract. Goddamn Steelers win
again. I think he's going to go to the Ravens. Mark, you an Eagles fan?
Yeah.
He got the Eagles hat on right now.
Hold on, Shawn. You an Eagles fan, Mark?
Yeah.
Hey, who y'all coach?
Nick Sirianni.
Who?
Nick Sirianni.
No, that wasn't meant for a response, Mark.
Listen,
Nick who?
I'm gonna repeat it again. Nick Sirianni.
Man.
Okay.
How you feel about
sound
that?
confident.
How you feel about that?
How do I feel about that? I don't know who the fuck he is. Like, I don't feel.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring you down a tag because you was talking to Shawn
No.
kind of spicy.
You're not breaking me down. Like,
Yeah.
I could be up, I could be down. Like, I don't know. Like, right? I'm saying,
Listen, this
in unknown
the only thing
territory.
you got going for you is the fact that y'all the ones that took a chance on Jalen Hurts.
listen. Here's the thing. I really like Jalen Hurts,
I
but
like him a lot too.
I don't know if he's going to get the opportunity that he's supposed to. And that's largely because of the talk that's around Deshaun Watson. And with that being said, we're going to move on into Deshaun Watson because he is the big topic of the.
Mark, I'm gonna let you finish, but I'm gonna make it real known right now. It was really slick of you to skip past the free agency talk for the Eagles. But continue.
Well,
Really slick.
It was nothing slick about it. There shouldn't be free agency talk for the Eagles because we are in cap space hell and we are barely making it out to be solvent. Like the Eagles need to do 0 moves in free agency, like 0 zilch de nada. Like that's how we need to rock this. But
Yeah.
because we need to fix our cap space situation.
Y'all don't even have money, do you?
Listen, things have changed. A lot of restructuring has happened to where players money has turned into guaranteed money over a course of years, or it turned into bonuses that will happen over the course of years. So now they will get that money as normal, but it will show up. It won't show up against the cap space.
Hey,
Listen,
Dane.
y'all need to hire the Saints person because all that cap bullshit you talking about, cap hell, that shit don't exist.
Hey, Dane. You know when I knew it was bad? When there's reports coming out that the Eagles are basically telling Ertz, you can get traded if you want to. Like, that's what I knew. They was like, they just need to get up off of that contract, dog. They're like, yo, hopefully Ertz wants to get moved and we could trade him for a pick so we could just get rid of his salary, dog. They just walking up to random players in the hallways and telling them they could get traded if they want to, man. It's bad over there.
Hey, Shawn, do you know who the coach for the Philadelphia Eagles is?
He said the name like 5 times and I don't even remember the name. I'm sorry, Dane. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mark, can you tell us one more time, bro?
Yeah, man. It's Nick Sirianni. See,
okay,
like,
Nick Sirianni.
I don't mind. I'm gonna just say it. Like,
Hey, Shawn, who the fuck is Nick Sirianni?
He's a guy that we're not gonna know his name by the end of next year. That's probably what's gonna happen. But that's just.
Hey, Mark, how many years you give Nick, bro? How many years you give Nick?
I don't know. I don't know. I can't legitimately. I don't know I don't know shit about him to say to talk about him one way or the other. So I just this is literally just let it play out. Like it is what it is. I do know that he was an offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. Like, but outside of that, I don't know shit about him. Like he could be a diamond. Like he could be a diamond in the rough. I will say this.
He could be Jay Gruden.
Yeah. Like, oh my God. He could be.
Sorry, I just said
his wife's name is Brett.
What?
He said his wife's name is Brett.
His wife's name is Brett.
I don't know if that says anything to you about his character.
Listen, I don't like. Here's the thing: what Dame is saying right now, I don't like. That could be a joke or it could be serious, and I would have no fucking. I don't know.
Yo, his wife's name is Brett, bro.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy to hear. I guess I don't know enough about it, but what I do know is that Deshaun Watson is the topic of free agency because Deshaun Watson, it's the will they or won't they with Houston. But I tell you, and Houston has been playing hardball, saying we're not trading them, but a lot of people are asking questions, this, that, and the third. And Houston, essentially, in a attempt to ruin Deshaun Watson's draft stock, magically, there is all of these. Well, not all of these. There are two lawsuits that are now being presented from two massage therapists um, that is conveniently enough being represented by a lawyer who is being reported as being friends with the Houston Texans owner.
Not just friends, close friends, like
So,
real chummy. Yep.
so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna opt out of this one because it's a lot of shit that's going on in the world right now, and it's just a little too much synergy with what you just said and what took place in the world. So I'm gonna just shut the fuck up and let y'all talk.
Dame said he ain't trying to get me too. All right, come on.
Not even me too, my brother. It's some other shit that I don't know if y'all are familiar with what took place, and I know this ain't the forum to be talking about that, but
Oh yeah, you talking about the shoot, the Atlanta stuff that just happened? Yeah,
that was a massage parlor.
yeah, I do know about that. Yeah. Well, damn, I guess my Robert Kraft jokes is probably deaded now. Thanks for taking the air out of that, Dame, because I was gonna say that man went into the parlor. They said Deshaun went into the parlor and asked for the Bob Kraft. You know what I'm saying? And they
That's
was
crazy.
like, yo,
that's crazy. Man.
no, but that's what the allegations are. They saying that he went in there and he was asking to be massaged in inappropriate places. And that's what these lawsuits are about.
So in particular,
I saw
in particular with these cases, here's a little bit of my background. I'm actually a licensed massage therapist. So in these cases, uh, some of this could be what they're saying, and some of it could be misinterpretation and ways that they're trying to spin it one way or another. Um, in a massage, especially in a sports massage, like if you have a client, like especially somebody like them, they will probably ask you to massage closer to the groin or something like that, because there are groin pulls, there's stretching techniques and stuff like that that you need to do to help relieve certain areas. Now, mind you, there are draping techniques to keep the bits and kibbles out of the way. You know what I'm saying? And so you're not exposing any genitals of a man or female. Uh, but um, so so if he said, "Yo, massage, can you massage closer to my groin?" and the person's like, "Oh, I don't feel comfortable with that," and he was like, "Well, okay, then fine. I'm sorry. I'm going to go find another massage therapist." Like, you could be reading something into that just don't exist. Like, I needed a massage. You said you didn't feel comfortable doing it. So I'm going to get up, leave, and find a massage therapist that is comfortable with doing the things that I need done at this moment. Um, so so in that regard, like, that's not sexual harassment, because I asked you a question, you told me no, I said okay. That's like, where's the harassment? I didn't continually ask you or pressure you to do anything that you didn't want to do. I asked you a question, you told me no, I left, which is the exact statement of the first woman. But yet she's filing a sexual harassment suit. Now, the second suit, which just came up, is the more interesting one. Because just give me a second to pull it up here. Doo-doo-doo. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. Second massage therapist claims, and I'm reading this from TotalProSports.com. Um, it says the unnamed masseuse says, and by the way, we're us massage therapists, we're not masseuse or masseurs. We are massage therapists. If somebody is going by masseuse or masseur, then more than likely they are indeed giving out happy endings. For
Yo, I didn't know that was a determination for that. I didn't. Yeah, the terminology. I wasn't hip. Thanks for putting that out there, Mark.
I'm being very clear. Like that's something that they teach you in school. Like, dog, don't let nobody call you a masseuse. Don't let nobody call you a masseur. Like,
Yeah, got you.
so, um, so anyway, it says the unnamed masseuse says a massage was scheduled to take place at the Houstonian Hotel Club and Spa in Houston on August 28th, 2020. It says Watson flew plaintiff out to Houston, Texas from Atlanta, Georgia. So plaintiff and Watson met at the hotel. Watson immediately got completely nude and got on a massage table with his penis completely exposed. Plaintiff firmly told Watson that he needed to use a towel to cover himself, as that was the appropriate way of conducting a professional massage. Watson refused. Watson told her he gets hot easily. Things only got crazier as Watson allegedly tried to get her towards different body parts on him. Soon after, Watson kept aggressively redirecting the plaintiff towards his anus. Watson asked plaintiff to use more and more oil on his anus.
Oh, this shit. The one that I'm looking at says he asked her to work the inner part of his anus. That's what it's saying here, dog.
Bro. What the fuck y'all got me in for? Now, Mark,
just read it. This is legit, dog.
Mark was feeling the way about the shit I was saying earlier. Now you're reading shit about somebody getting their anus worked.
Look, man.
This plaintiff started to get uncomfortable, but again, she still wanted to give Watson the benefit of the doubt, and she needed the business and the money as a single mom of 2 children. Watson,
I'll throw that in there, single mom. Go ahead.
Yeah. Watson then got more specific and asked the plaintiff to work on the inner parts of his anus. She ignored that request because it was odd. Really? Really? I'm gonna ignore this because it's odd. No, it's downright wrong. Like, what are you talking about, dog? Like,
that's weird.
Like, you just like, I'm gonna ignore that because it's weird, and I'm gonna keep pressing. Like, no, like, what are we talking about here?
Like, if somebody really asks you that, you should pack your bags and go. This is just but continue.
Yeah, it says she ignored that request because it was odd, so she decided to work on his inner thigh area. Watson got more aggressive, now telling the plaintiff to go higher and higher towards his penis. Plaintiff said no and said she was confused because this is not where his glutes were located. Okay.
This whole thing is starting to sound a little too fugazi for me, but go ahead, continue.
Exactly.
So this should sound like one. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. If these women were in fact violated by Deshaun Watson, he needs to be prosecuted to the fullest extent or whatever they could do.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. I want to start by saying that.
Yes,
but this shit sounds like some type of. If you're saying that the people that are doing this is connected with the Houston Texas franchise, this shit sounds like some type of smear campaign against him, and there's also a smear campaign not only on him being like somebody that assaults women, they're also alluding to him being like some type, like in some way having homosexual or liking people to play with his asshole. Like,
they're making him out to be a sexual deviant, man.
Yeah, they're trying to like really like sully his name in terms of not saying that. Listen, if that's what you like, that's what you like. But if you are a heterosexual man that wants to present that way, having people think that you asking somebody to like play inside your asshole ain't the way that you want to be viewed. If that is the way that you want to present to the world, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But I mean,
what they're trying to say, essentially what they're trying to allude to is that Deshaun Watson likes people finger popping his asshole. Like, and that's not.
That's pretty fucking graphic, but go ahead. That's pretty. But okay, well, this is okay. I'm gonna get serious for a second, man. If
He's been
this
playing the whole podcast, yo.
if this is a smear campaign, here's my biggest issue with this. Like, we already know the history of the Houston Texans owner with his comments about inmates and all this other shit.
Right.
And, you know, they didn't like DeAndre Hopkins having too many baby mamas. They, you know, at the practices or whatever in the facilities, as they put it, right? You know, there's too many racial undertones going on in that organization, especially dealing with the owner. For him to then be a part of the emasculation of Deshaun Watson, because there's absolutely no point of making that type. If this is a smear campaign, there's no point in making up that type of lie unless you're trying to now emasculate a black man, and that's. In tying that in with this history, that's a huge problem for me, Dame. Like, you know, where's the Malcolm X? Where's Malcolm X Dame at right now? Like,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like how I look at it is, it is what it like. One, I don't see a lot of people taking this shit seriously so far. I mean, if it starts to pick up traction, I haven't seen it covered on any sports network yet. If it starts to pick up traction, like, you know, and it becomes a more serious thing, then like I'll actually allow it to like really, like, you know, I give it some real thought. But so far it just sounds like a smear campaign. This is my thing. I understand you said the emasculation, all this shit. There's dudes out here that's into that shit, bro. So if they into it, if that's what they want to do with themselves,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Let them have it. Let them have it.
What I'm saying is, if it's the truth, then it's the truth. But I'm saying is, if it's a lie, then that means they're intentionally making up that part of the lie. For what reason? Like, as if the smear itself ain't bad enough. As if it ain't bad enough to falsely accuse somebody of sexual assault.
Like essentially, Dane, what Shawn is saying is that, like, if you're trying to smear him, you could just stop at accusing him of sexual assault.
Yes.
But now you're going the extra mile to accuse him of doing sexually deviant stuff that is usually associated with homosexual behavior. So
yes, it's for me, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it is a smear campaign, it's clearly personal. It's clearly personal. Right. You know, if it's made up, that's what I'm saying. Like,
listen, I'm gonna just be honest, and I'm okay with this. As of right now, this to me seems made up. Like, yeah, like this is like, that's just facts. This to me, as of right now, seems made up. One, there are a lot of massage therapists in Houston. A lot of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if we're going to be clear,
Houston, yeah.
If you want a massage therapist, you could get a massage therapist in Houston, and if more than likely, like, I am not trying to victim blame when I say this. So, and I'm not like, it's just, there's certain things that your antennas should come up a little bit, but you need the money. If this is all real. So maybe I don't want to touch on it, but like, dog, he's flying you out to Atlanta. I mean, from Atlanta to Houston for an hour massage. Does that sound right to anybody?
Yeah. The flying out from Atlanta doesn't sound right.
I mean, if you're a good massage. Listen, I guess I gotta be devil's advocate for everything.
No.
If you're a good massage therapist, you might get that fly out, bro.
But here's the thing.
But that goes against what the accusations are.
Exactly.
They saying he flew her out there for no massage, like strictly sex. Like, that's what he flew her out there for. That's what they're accusing him of.
They're accusing from what I just heard. They're accusing him of getting them there under the pretenses of a massage. And
Right.
then when he's there, he trying to get his anus play with.
Right. No, but here's the like.
That's the wild part. So not only did this, I'm about to get off this fucking show, bro.
No, legit.
So not
no, but here's the thing. No,
wait,
Dame, I'm about to explain.
Wait. Let
No,
me get
because
one
I'm
thing. Let
about
me
to
get one thing
explain
off.
something to you.
Wait, I just want to say one thing real quick, bro. So y'all telling me that not only are they accusing him of being sexually like a sexual deviant, he ain't even trying to get his dick played with. He trying to get his ass played with.
Right.
Like, bro,
That's
I'm
what
out of
they
here,
saying.
man. I gotta go, bro. I gotta
No,
go.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you are a professional massage therapist that that is like dope at your craft and this, that, and the third, and you serious about your business and all that shit, and you say, and somebody's like, yo, can you play can you massage the inner part of my anus? You're not going to be like, oh, that's weird, let me ignore that. Like, that's like, you're not going to do that.
I'm too nice at what I do. I make too much money, and that's another part that don't make that really don't add up. Is like, if they were getting flat out because they were the creme de la creme, they wouldn't need the money. They wouldn't be struggling. You know, like a lot of pieces of the story don't add up.
I don't know, man. Listen. If he did that shit, he need to go to jail. Fuck all that.
Facts.
Listen,
Facts.
it might have happened.
Facts.
It might have happened. There's some weird ass people in the world. It might have happened.
Yeah.
He might have. Look, we don't know what the women look like. Let's be honest. We don't know what the women look like. She might be fucking attractive. He might want an attractive lady putting fingers inside his asshole. If that's the case, he a nasty man. You gotta ask permission, nigga. You can't just say, hey, come here, give me a massage. Now when you're here, I want you. Nah, nigga, you gotta ask first, nigga. Bitch, you never know, Deshaun. You rich as a motherfucker. She might do it because you just asked her to.
No, Dane, you're absolutely.
You making good points, but go
you're
Mark.
1,000% correct. Like, I'm speaking to the part that, like, listen, every claim period should always be vetted. Nobody should automatically be believed. Deshaun Watson shouldn't be believed automatically, and these women should not automatically be believed. Every claim should be taken seriously, but nobody should automatically be believed. And in that, you take it seriously and you properly vet it. And what in the process of properly vetting the stories or what you've heard, when things don't line up and there's holes in the story, that's just what it is. Like, certain things don't line up.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm not about to play with no. You tried to make me put my finger in your ass allegations. It is what it is. But he might have did it. He didn't do it. He might have not did it. More will be revealed in the future. And I'm not gonna be recorded saying these women was lying, because if they got this nigga on tape, this is a whole different ballgame.
Oh no, but see, that's what I'm saying. See, no one is saying these women are lying at all. No one is saying. I'm just saying I'm saying.
Either some details are missing, or this shit just ain't lining up.
Right.
But we don't know. Details could be missing. Like you said, there could be a tape. We don't know.
Man. We don't know. You supposed to say the best for last. You never know. Them people might got that waffle shit that they're gonna save for the judge when it's time to get that big bread. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Let me stop with that for a second. I did see that Deshaun Watson said that they came to him and asked for a settlement first, and when he said no, that's when they went ahead with this. So like, they tried to get him to pay up first.
Yeah, and if he was guilty of some shit like that, he would have done the settlement, because with the settlement there would have been a non-disclosure agreement. And if he really was guilty, you would have done that.
Well, some people
ask Peyton Manning. Hey, I'm just saying, I had to do it. Ask Peyton Manning. If you did it, you do the settlement and you make them sign a non-disclosure.
Some
Well, I mean, I guess.
people are
I mean,
arrogant.
Yeah,
Some people are arrogant, and
some
Yeah.
people there's hubris.
that is
There's
true.
hubris attached. There's hubris attached to some motherfuckers who feel like they untouchable. So you
Yeah,
never know.
that is true. I can't deny it. And football is the one place, if you want to talk about arrogance, that's probably where it exists more than any other major sport. So I got you.
right,
I can feel that. Yeah.
right. Like I listen. Our podcast isn't a podcast for the political and all that. It's just it really should be a but like I said, every situation should be properly vetted. We're not the court of law, and we don't decide who was right or wrong in any situation. But every situation should be taken seriously, and every situation should be taken seriously to the point of that this person could be possibly telling the truth. So let's look into it. And with that being said, from what we have gathered so far, I am like, I don't know. Like I need more info.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. From
Yeah.
what
Okay. There we go. Yeah. I need more
no
info.
proclamations.
Yeah.
From what we got so far, I'm not making no proclamations.
Yeah. But I tell you one
I'm
thing.
praying for everybody.
Look, all I know is if there is a video, people apparently know how to make those disappear because I saw screenshots of Robert Kraft, and then all of a sudden there was a video that never came out, and then the screenshots disappeared. I don't know. I'm
No,
just
they
saying
had Kraft dead to rights. They just didn't follow through with the charges. That's all. They
they
let him go.
did. I'm just saying that magically disappeared.
It didn't
So
disappear. It didn't disappear. I'm going to show that it was like the new R. Kelly tape never hit the net, but it exists. That's how they got him.
yeah,
That's how he got
yeah.
jammed
Well,
up
what I'm
to the net.
saying is nothing happened to Robert Kraft.
No,
legally.
the Robert Kraft thing was
They just let him go.
no. It was illegal procedure. It was
the evidence was obtained illegally.
yes, it was the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. Apparently it was an illegal wiretap. Apparently it was a legal wiretap in the
Well,
book.
it was illegal because they're not allowed to have cameras inside of the massage parlor, and that's how they caught him.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though they set up the video to
Yeah.
that exact thing. So
Yeah.
it's like basically it's a catch-22 bullshit that probably wouldn't fly unless somebody got paid.
Basically, they knew they had to throw that out once it happened, but once the smear starts, the money starts to roll out. So
Right.
yeah.
So but yeah, man, Robert Kraft got off the same way R. Kelly got off originally.
Facts.
Because R. Kelly got caught with it again. This is not the podcast for that, so I apologize.
all right. We good.
You
That's
think
Dave's podcast.
You
That's
think this
Dave's
the Wait Till You
podcast.
Hear This podcast? Huh?
Yeah. That's your podcast, man.
Hey, speaking of the Wait Till You Hear This podcast, shout out Ricky, shout out Darius, man. We upload our show every Sunday. So you know.
Yeah, Darius going through hell right now with Andy Dalton as his quarterback, but we're not going to talk about that.
That's not my business.
I'll catch up with Darius later, but yeah.
Listen. As of this point, we have had 2/3 of the Wait Till You Hear This podcast on, and only 1/3 has eluded us as of yet. And he's already been invited, but he scurried off when he was called to the challenge. So
if I was a Bears fan, I wouldn't want to sit down in front of us two on this show. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, hopefully we can have him on soon. That'll be great. I fuck with Darius. There's my guy.
Oh, I mean, you know, look, listen, you never know what the future holds, man. You never know.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. But thank you. I think we're going to go ahead and end this here. We have one more
time
that we were going to address, but it doesn't have to be addressed this week. So we'll address it next week. And with that being said, man, thank you, Dame, for joining us. Shawn, as
No
always.
doubt, no doubt,
Yeah.
no doubt, man. It was fun. Follow me at Dame Fresh on Twitter, man.
Yeah. Follow Dame at Fresh on Twitter.
Yeah.
Do you wait till you hear this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, basically anywhere you can receive podcasts except for Tidal.
Yep.
Um, and link, like, subscribe as always, man. Follow our YouTube, Twitter, all that nonsense. You can check us out anytime you feel like it. And if you are a loyal follower and you fuck with our logo, you could pick up t-shirts and hoodies now. Like, just email us or hit us up on Twitter at the eye test, and we'll get back to you. Um, with that being said, as always, if you cool with us, we'll be cool with y'all. So be cool with us, so
Keep
we
them
can be
babies out
cool
the
with y'all.
street. Keep them babies out the street.
It's a key to babies on the street. All right.
All right, I guess that was a Dave Chappelle reference. Like,
He said,
It's a boys in the hoods reference, but
yeah,
it's gonna be all right.
yeah, we good. Raw podcast. Oh, but yes, thank you, Dame. We appreciate your presence on this on this, and that's it, fellas. Until next time, we out.
Peace.
peace.
Good show, fellas. I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Yep.